Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another stream to be Overthunk by Sharky. We are back here in JumpStart Adventures 3rd Grade Mystery Mountain once again for a little bit more work. We are going to be sticking around with this game for a little bit longer. I was going to say last week, but that's hardly accurate these days. Last time that we were streaming, we were finishing up our adventures with Botley. We rescued the last couple of robots through, saw the end of the game, talked about our experiences, things like that. And I suggested that we weren't done with things, and indeed we are back here again. And we're going to be doing something exciting over the next couple of weeks. Good evening in the chat there, Skeevers. Thanks for tuning in. Wasn't expecting you to be the first one to join us, but welcome nonetheless. Yes, we are going to be putting in a bit of work to try and see how we go at attempting to speed run this game. Now, don't get too excited. We're not speed running the entire game. We're not doing 25 robots all over again. That takes too much work. I've been having a look on speedruns.net at the different categories of speedrunning this game and what some people have done and committed to in the past. And I think this is not entirely outside the realm of possibility. There are obviously a couple of different speedrun categories for different sorts of games. This one has the standard 100% speedrun, rescue all 25 robots, complete the game from start to finish, that kind of thing. But I can't remember exactly what the record time is for that, but it's something in the order of 6 hours or 8 hours or something. We are not committing to that because we can't stream that long in a single sitting. And I would go completely insane trying to do that anyway. So that's off the table. Other speedrun categories include the slightly more achievable all mini-games, which is play every single mini-game on the mountain once. And I can't remember whether that includes rescuing a robot at the end just for completeness. We could dip our hands into that, but that is a longer category as well. It's up closer to an hour. I can't remember where the limit is. It's something like 50-something minutes, maybe 52 minutes or something, is the current world record for completing all mini games. We could try that. We're not going to. The other remaining category and the fastest category to run is rescue the first robot, or rescue your first robot. Rescue one robot is the category, and that is in the order of the high 20s of minutes. Just a sub 30 minutes would put us well onto the leaderboard, but the lower, the further below 30 minutes we get, the higher up the leaderboard we get there. And I'd say, I feel like that's achievable. This is a game that you should be able to min-max pretty easily in order to get a competitive time. Now that being said, like a lot of speedrun strats in games and things like that, there are a lot of things that we need to do, like attempting to skip dialogue and skip cutscenes and try and find minimal paths through things, and also hope for a lot of RNG, a lot of good RNG. That's really the randomness of the run that's going to decide a lot of things. So before we can sort of settle in to actually doing some proper speedrun attempts at things, you know me, I need to collect data. I need to know what I'm getting myself into. So there are certain things that we should gather some information about before we actually commit to finding some optimal paths to running. And I tried to look a bit of this info up, and some of it's online, but a lot of it's not. So I figure, why not just get this information myself? So let me boot up the game, since we're not officially into things yet. And let's have a look at... Oh, that's awkward. I forgot to actually put the... I'm not prepared for this at all. Forgot to actually load the image file. Let me just hunt that down super quick. Talk amongst yourselves while Sharky finds the CD image file. That's it there. Mount that one. Yes, that drive will do. Disable auto run. Bing. Okay, let's try that now. That's better. There we go. Alright. So, in terms of speed runs and stuff like that, Speedrun begins the minute you sign your name in, and speedrun ends the minute you have retrieved the robot from the past. So, not that we're timing anything at the moment,
Well,
but just for
hello.
reference,
We've been waiting for
I can get rid of that one.
Please sign in.
Let's
We've
see.
got a busy day ahead.
Is that it?
If you're
There we go.
hello. We've been waiting for you. Please sign
Alright,
in.
so
We've got a busy day ahead. If you're new to this school, please use the keyboard to enter your name.
okay, first test run.
If you're already enrolled, select your name by clicking on it. If you see your name on the list and want to
Dear.
continue your game,
Alright,
please
so
click on it.
we click
If
enter.
you do not see, please enter and
Oh,
have
and
a
it
seat.
lowercased all that.
Sit up straight. No
So
slouching
the
in
minute
this
we clicked
classroom.
enter there,
Is that gum in
that's
your
when the
mouth?
time would begin
Sorry,
on
my
a typical
mistake.
run for this game. Okay, so time will be going now. And there's a lot of things to do. Now, you'll notice I've got my notes panel over on the side here, where I can leave a bunch of notes. Where are we? Here we are. Leaving notes for myself and things like that. And I've got a note here reminding me, don't forget to spam the escape key, which is something that can't say I've ever consciously done in JumpStart here. You know, spamming escape. Normally I click on things to spam and skip certain things. But I've never actually tried hitting escape. Now, what happens if we hit escape right now? Look at that. We're just not here now. And I don't know why. I do not know why. We've just skipped that whole first bit. And if I press it again, we're now down here at the door. And if I press it again, we are inside. And if I press it again, nothing happens. So we're now at unskippable cutscene stuff. So I have no why, and I'm going to mute Botley for a minute so I can talk over him. There we go. I have no idea why all of that is skippable like that. Just by pressing escape, I can just bypass all of that opening explanation about the game, and I can even bypass the locked door on the outside of the mountain. I don't think it's intended for that to happen, because all of the speedrun stuff that I've watched for this game, people still sort of go through all that dialogue at the start, but they skip certain parts of it. And people still normally have to go through the front door. Or at least they choose to, maybe, go through the front door to get in. So I feel it a bit weird that I'm able to get all the way in. Maybe there's something different about this version of the game. The other thing that's different, sorry, Botley's talking, you can't hear him, but it's distracting me a bit. The other thing that's really different about this is all this dialogue here where Botley points to each room one by one and has been explaining what the rooms are about, then points to the transquizzed disc and automatically picks it up. That dialogue, that's the bit that all the speedrunners skip. And I would love to know how to do that, and pressing escape and clicking and stuff like that for me, that does nothing. So I'm at a bit of a loss as to how any of that happens. So that's a complete mystery to me. So these are the kinds of things we need to explore and experiment with, what we can actually successfully work out how to skip and things like that. So some of the stuff that I'm going to be leaving notes for are things to do with all the different minigames, how many points they get, solutions to some of the puzzles if they're going to be the exact same every time we do them, those sorts of things. But in particular, I want to time and take notes about how long it takes to do certain things within the game that are non-negotiables, because there's a little bit of choice here. There's randomness about which minigames you might have to do, but one thing that we do have choice about, and let me turn the sound back on for this, one thing we do have choice about is which of the 5 robots we choose to go after. And there will be small differences here in terms of how long it takes everyone to say all their dialogue. And that's something that can be very easily optimized.
But even geniuses need to study. That's Polly's teacher, Ms. Winkle. At that school on the hill, everything's state of the art. All the quizzes are personalized.
Yes, Botley. So what I'm going to do while we're getting on that set is I'm going to make a new notes page here.
inventions and
Let's see.
discoveries. Something you
New
should know
notes
plenty
page.
about, Polly. But no fair asking your father for help.
Let's see.
See,
Let's make
everyone's
a
impressed by the
copy of that
quiz.
page.
There are 25 questions total, Polly. 5 on each of the 5 discs I've passed
So,
out to you and the rest of the class.
disk
That's
timing.
5 different levels. So, sit up straight, put on your thinking cap, and select your first question. Okay, what we should do first is select one of the quiz questions.
Transquizzer.
Just click on any one of the 5 buttons near the bottom of the transquizzer. Since we've got to bring all the robots back, the order doesn't really matter.
Okay, thanks for that, Botley. So we need to find out, because we could rescue any of these 5 robots, as I was saying, but it's going to take a different amount of time to go through and to say all the dialogue associated with reading out these questions and things like that. So I've got a stopwatch here. I haven't got this up on screen or anything. I'm just going to do this old school on my phone. And we're going to see how long it takes for all of the stuff that we can't skip to sort of play through, because as far as I can tell, once I pick one of these and hit the yellow button,
the yellow start button will play this question.
Thanks, Botley. Everything is just locked in. I've got to wait for everyone to talk, then I've got to click to put away the transquizzer, then I've got to wait for Polly's monitor to come down, all of her dialogue to happen, and then Botley to announce what rooms we're in. And that seems to be unskippable from my little sort of playing around that I've done with things. I can't seem to bypass any of that dialogue, which means we need to find out, over the course of things, which of these 5 robots has the least amount of total dialogue that's unskippable here, because that will help us optimize which robot to rescue. So we're just going to do these in order and gather some data about this. So I've got the stopwatch here. I'm going to start the stopwatch when I click on the yellow button and commence things. I'm going to stop my stopwatch once Polly finishes retracting up, once Botley finishes saying his things, and right as he starts to say which rooms the clues are in. That's where we sort of cut back to the regular random stuff. Okay, so fingers on the ready on the stopwatch, and 3, 2, 1, go.
People once thought the Earth was the center of the universe and everything revolved around it. That's because when they looked up in the sky, the sun and the stars all appeared to be moving around the Earth. A nice idea, but appearances can be deceiving.
Oh, that feels
Today
quite quick,
we know that the Earth
because now we're into the question
revolves
already.
around what? Miss Winkle, as everybody knows, I am the center of the universe.
Because we're straight into it. Like, I feel like some of these other questions have
Polly,
been
you're
way longer than
exactly
this.
right. The whole world revolves around
There's nothing else I can
you.
click on.
Heavens, Polly is just
Can't
too
click on
much
exit.
to bear. She used to think she was the center of the universe.
Push and escape
now
here.
she really is.
It's doing
We
nothing.
need to go back in time and straighten this mess
And like, this
out,
is already up
or
to
life
40
as we know
seconds.
it will change drastically.
Ready?
Click on the inventory
Spamming
button
inventory.
to put away the
Spam,
transquizzer.
spam, spam. There. That's as fast as possible. Got to wait for all this.
Polly, you know I've
Clicking,
been programmed to clean up
pressing
your
escape,
messes, and that includes bringing back
doing
my
that.
robot pals. I know you won't tell me
So
who they
all of
are,
this is still in the
but how
timer.
about a little hint? Well, it just so happens, Sutton,
So
that I realized long ago that
we've
you would
passed
try
a
to
minute
mess up
now.
my work. So I covered my tracks by hiding clues all over the mountain. 4 clues total.
Yep.
You and your friend will have to find and collect them all. And even if you can find them all, which I highly doubt you can, you will still have to go to Daddy's time machine and figure out where I sent the robot if you expect to beat me. Oh, by the way, you know how Daddy feels about amateurs going into the time machine room. It's a very sensitive piece of equipment, you know. So, before a hunk of rusty bolts like you can get inside, you'll have to earn a bunch of invention points.
1,000.
1,000 of them should just about do it for starters.
Yep.
Well, Polly, okay.
Okay.
It
We
looks
have
like we have
no choice but to play by your rules.
as unfair as they are. Just tell us what we need to find for this mission.
Alright. There we go.
Relax,
And now it loads up
so bad.
the custom dialogue for this mission. So
So
everything before that was standard stuff for first robot. Here we go.
A sundial, a postage stamp, and a dollar bill.
Alright, now we need Botley to say his stuff. Alright, Botley says his line about that robot.
And I never used to get along, but now we're pals.
Still can't click on anything.
Programmed him for her selfish purposes.
Can't go up the
We have to
stairs.
find those clues and get
ready.
Cosmobot back. Finding the clue should be a little less hopeless with my powerful censoring
Ready to
device.
stop.
Professor Spark hooked me up this way so I could better keep an eye on Polly. I can monitor every nook and cranny of the mountain.
Yep.
Shh! I'm
There.
gonna try to sense this area.
Stopped right as he shushes there. Okay.
Hey, we're in luck! I'm sensing a mission clue in the music hall. There's another mission clue in the painting gallery.
Alright, so let me make some notes here. So that was 2 minutes 36. I mean, I got 36.02 on my stopwatch, but that's going to be down to my reflexes as well. So I don't think there's any value in going down to that precise. So 2 minutes 36 seconds is how long it took to do all of that unskippable dialogue. So that's a non-negotiable. So once we find out what the others are like, we can sort of make a better judge of that. The other side of things is this is the transquisitor dialogue at the start that we can't skip and have to let it play through. We've got the same issue at the end of the mission with the time machine when we're playing Pollywood Squares and we have to answer all the questions with Monty Monitor. There's no skipping that. We have to let all that play out, and that takes ages. And so we have to do the same thing. We're going to have to record the amount of time it takes for all of that to play through as fast as we can play it. And together, they're sort of unskippable dialogue that we have to sort of try and minimize. So we are heading to the music room and the painting gallery. So I'm going to need to make some notes and things for music room, painting gallery, that kind of stuff. So let me go to, let's call this music room. So this is details about the music room. Alright, so things that we're going to find out. We're going to find out which puzzles are completely random and which puzzles are the same every time. And also how many points things are worth, because we might find ourselves in a situation where we need to actually make sure that we get actually get to 1,000 points. We also want to try and work out how to skip as much dialogue as we can, because Botley and Co. often have to explain these games for the very first time you go to them. So there's going to be a lot of going in, coming out, going into the same game in order to try and see if we can skip some dialogue. So let's just fiddle around with this and see what happens in the music room.
This is the door to. Hey, we're in. This is the door to the professor's. Okay.
No, that seems to be the
This
same
is
every
the door
time.
to the professor's concert hall, which he usually keeps locked. So okay. This is the door to the professor's
Okay, so
concert hall, which he usually
this is
keeps locked, so
unskippable,
none of the less musical
but
robots around here
that to
panicking
me
hard
looks
on the
like
piano. But the door doesn't open with a key.
the same every
Instead,
time.
It uses a password.
Rain,
You have
wind,
to figure
heat,
out the
sleet.
password by unscrambling the 4 words
Like, I
on
think
the left side of the door.
that
I'm not so
feels
good
very
with spelling,
familiar.
but luckily we've got some help. Hey,
Yep.
Beethoven!
Huh? Hello?
So all this is
Who's
effectively
there?
unskippable.
Oh, Bartley, it's just you. You should have called my name instead of just scuffling around out there.
Sure. Okay, listen, Polly's up to no good again, and we're trying to stop her. We're having trouble with this lock. Can you help us?
Huh? Speak up.
Speak
Don't
up.
mumble.
Can you help
Like, this is a long
us?
exchange,
Now, Bartley,
and we can't
if
skip
I
it.
just gave you the answers, Polly would reboot me in a heartbeat. But if you're really having trouble figuring out one of the words, click on the button next to it, and I'll see what I can do.
Yep.
Good luck.
Okay. What you must
Still
do is
can't click on the
unscramble the letters
words.
on the left side of the door to create 4 words. You can do that by clicking on any letter, then clicking on the space where you want
Come
it
on,
to go.
Botley.
Each time you unscramble
Way
a
too
word,
much explanation.
you'll be rewarded with at least 1 letter in the password, which appears on the right side of the door. When you unscramble those letters, you've figured out the password and the door should open. Easy.
Still clicking. There. Alright. This is the part where you've got to be really
Rain.
fast
You've
with
got
the
it.
mouse.
Wind.
Hey,
Heat.
hey,
There's plenty of opportunity to
sleet.
misclick all
Well,
that.
you got all the words. Now,
Okay, and before I put that in, I'm just going to make note of all of that. Not that we need to. Oh, also, I wasn't watching the points. Ah, dear. We're at 80 points, so I feel like that means we got 20, 40, 60, 80. So let's say door lock. We've got rain, and then wind, and then heat, and then sleet. And then that's 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points. And then that gives us weather. Let's move all that across one. So let's see how much weather gives us. It's another 20?
That is correct.
Nope, 50.
The
All right,
password is weather.
50 points. Okay. Let's see what we can skip here.
The doors open, and the crowd goes wild.
Okay, in we go.
This is the mountain's
Clicking on
music hall.
things.
This is where rehearsals are held by our award-winning
Nothing seems skippable.
all-robot
I reckon if we
chorus,
click
headed
this,
by Maestro Trombone.
we would
Of
leave and then
course,
have to
thanks
come back and the door
Polly,
would be locked
half the
again.
members of the chorus
So
are
I'm not going
lost
to do
in
that.
time right now. Ah, to
Alright.
hear their sweet
I'm
dulcet
spamming
tones
escape and I'm
just one
spamming
more
click,
time.
and nothing
Maestro?
seems to be happening, so
Hey, Maestro!
Shh.
yeah.
Bartley, you'll miss a line of my perfect pitch sensors.
Let's keep spamming
Do,
click just in
re,
case.
mi, fa, sol, la, ti,
There's some part of this that we can skip.
There we go.
Sorry, Maestro, but Polly's put us all in a bit of a jam, and the future of civilization is at stake.
Mamma mia! If she would only practice her arias, she wouldn't have the time or the inclination to destroy the world. Music has such a civilizing influence. Although her voice, let's just say it's not music to my ears.
And here she
I
comes.
heard that,
Still
Maestro.
can't skip
You just
this.
don't appreciate my instrument. Do 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 do
Do
do
do
do
do
do
do do
do.
do.
Well, Polly, you do have a
Quality.
I've got scads and scads of quality. But what Notley here wants is the mission clue I hid here. In order to get it, though, he'll have
So
to
this
play
feels
me
like a
song.
super slow game.
Not just any song, though.
If
I
none of
want to
this is
hear
skippable.
this song. And please play it right, Dingbot. My delicate ears can't handle even one sour note. You mess up, and you get nothing. Nada. Zilch. Nuts.
You know, if you like,
Still
you can
can't
play
skip
the
any of
organ
this.
with the top row of number keys on your keyboard.
Yep. Okay, I can do that.
How did she? It seems that you have your work cut out for you, dear Bartley. You see, the music is all mixed up.
The music is all
If you
mixed
want
up.
to hear how it's supposed to sound,
Still can't skip any of
click
this.
on
I skipped a
me
tiny
and I'll
bit
play
there.
it for you. Then you should have little trouble rearranging those musical phrases until they're in the right order. Click on the button next to the phrase to hear the music start on it. Then click on the phrase to move it to another slot.
If you click on the play button, you can play the entire piece
Can't
as it's
yet, though.
arranged on the music tablet. You can even change the instrument it's played with by selecting one of the instruments on this panel.
There we go. Alright, so that's what we're hearing. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like this is the same one as always. So, alright, so notes we're leaving. Let me move all of this down one. Because I want to leave myself a note here saying no skippable dialogue. Because that seems to be the case. I mean, there was the tiny bit of skip right at the end where Botley says click on the tablet.
The music on this tablet is all mixed up.
And we were able to
You
skip
need
that.
to move the musical phrases so they play the song correctly.
Yes, Botley, I know.
Click on Maestro Trombone.
Yes. So, yes, I can get out of that by clicking on him. We also want to, if this is going to be the same puzzle every time, we want to minimize how much change we need to do. So, it's so then this one. Then And then this one. Do, 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 do. So this one needs to go to the bottom. And then this one needs to go to the top. So in terms of the fastest way of doing this, so fastest way of doing this would be to move the second one. Oh, they swap, don't they? So this one's got to go to the top. That one's got to go to the bottom. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I, or do they not swap? Do they just move down? Let's experiment. Let's move this one to the top. So this is the first one. So if I move this to the top, no, the others just drop. Okay, so moving that to the top puts that in the correct spot. So move the third one to the top, and then move the third one to the bottom. Yeah, so that's it. That's like our fastest way out of that. 3 to the top, 3 to the bottom. So that's how. All right, let's move all this back up. I don't have the amount of space on screen that I thought I was going to have. Okay. So music. Yeah, then third. So it's move third to top, and then third to bottom.
The music on this tablet is all mixed up. You need to move the musical phrases so they play the song correctly. Click on Maestro Trombot to hear the piece played correctly. Then move the phrases so they're arranged in the correct order.
Yes, Botley.
To play,
we know this. So that's everything correct in the correct order now. Right, so we hit that and that locks it in. Watch points, watch for anything else we need to be able to, if there's a way to skip anything else now. Clicking on other things. I don't want to click on exit. Mash and escape, nothing seems to be happening.
beautiful job.
Points are still the same. None of this seems skippable yet.
This song is called Yankee Doodle. In the old country, Italy, you know, a macaroni is a type of feather people used to wear in their hats. I bet you never knew that.
Can we skip the music? And we can't leave the room because we need the clue, which is under there, and we need to see how much the clue's worth. Do, 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 do.
And the beat goes on.
Okay, so
Now
we're at
pick up the
130.
mission clue and let's move on. Hey, we're in luck. I'm
So
sensing a
380.
mission
So
clue in the painting gallery.
that's 250, right? 130. 233, yeah, so that's 250. So let's say, let's go clue equals 250 points. Equals 250 points. So let's say that makes total so that's 380. I was going to add all those up, but we just did that. So that's 380 points. Okay. Can I make that yellow? Is that going to work? Is that going to stand out funny? There we go. Does that work? I can't see on the overlay. Looks like the colors go a little bit funny there. I'll make that red. No, that shows up my blue even more. And make it blue. Ooh, that's a nice blue. How about that? How does that show up? Total of 380 points. Okay. Great. So, yeah, with like basically no skippable dialogue in there, which feels bad. So it feels like the music room is unfortunately going to be a super slow room. So I guess, I mean, we've got notes for it, but I guess like RNG wise, we probably don't want to experience that. The other room we're going to is the painting gallery, isn't it? Let's see.
Hey, we're in luck. I'm I'm sensing a mission clue in the painting gallery.
Yep, that's it. Alright, so let's get ourselves a new notes page for the painting gallery. Have I glitched the music? Painting gallery. Alright, so this is painting gallery. I have, we've got music going on top of itself. I can hear 2 sets of music going. Oh dear. Yep. Alright. So let's get in here and let's see what we can skip in terms of dialogue. So alright. What if we leave and go back in? No, we still have to do this the first time.
This is Professor Sparks'
Yep, I
art
can't
gallery.
choose
It's sort
anywhere
of a-
yet.
Hey,
Yep, okay.
this is Professor Sparks' art
So
gallery.
it seems like we're having to
It's
go
sort of
through
an
all
art
this.
museum and an art studio combined. That odd-looking machine over
Yep.
there is his virtual
And
collection,
again, like,
where the professor
this
keeps
is
a
weird
display of some of the
because
most
I
famous
feel like
works of
I've
art in the
seen
world. You can
the
also go into the
speedrunners
painting gallery
skip
in the
these
back to
parts.
create
Like,
your
Botley
own
still points to
masterpiece.
here, then
Don't
points
forget
to
to bring
here,
your
but he says
imagination.
nothing. Like, each of these lines,
If you're going
and
to
even
visit
her
the
maybe,
gallery,
each of
you
these
let me
lines
know
seem
if
to
you
be
find any
skipped
of
as soon
Polly's
as someone
things hidden
starts to
in
talk.
there. If I've told her
We just
once,
jump to the
I've
next
told her
voice
a
line.
1,000
But
times. Don't mess
I don't
up the
know.
collection. Of course, she doesn't listen to me. Why, once I found a Romanesque urn next to a Baroque.
Painting
That's
gallery,
Mrs.
painting
Beasley.
gallery.
She's the resident art expert. Some say she's as old as some of the Greco-Roman statues in here.
I heard that, you hotshot silicon chipsters. So smart and so,
So
fast.
fast, and
So
so what?
I've got more sense in my vacuum tubes than a lot of you.
Well, if we have any questions about the art, we'll be sure to ask you.
Okay. Can I go into here
This
yet?
room looks like an ordinary painting gallery, but Polly's father created it.
What
Let's
if I...
go to...
Oh, nice!
Polly, how's that?
Oh, look at all that! Oh! So much of that is skippable. Okay. What are we going to do for notes on that? So, um, what was the name of it? Mrs. Beasley. So it's intro. So what have we got? Unskippable dialogue. So Mrs. Mrs. Beasley dialogue is unskippable. That sort of thing, and then we can we need to enter and exit painting to skip explanation. So we can do that. We can enter and exit the painting, and it does skip the explanations. All right, it's a bit of a fiddle. Like we've got to get used to sort of mapping out exactly what that is. But there was like click on the painting. There was no. When Botley starts explaining it, we backed out to the main room with Mrs. Beasley. We went back in. That let us click on a painting, but then we had to back out of the painting and go back into the painting again to skip the dialogue in order to get this up. Now, desert and cow skulls. I feel like, again, that's like the first painting. So I'm going to make a note of that. So painting instructions. Desert background and cow skull. So how do we optimize getting to that? So here's our backgrounds up here, and there are our objects there. So the desert background, I mean, that's just what it is. Second background, so desert. Second background. Cow skull though, so we've got to go down how many times? We've got to go down one. Oh, look at how fast that is. So it's just down one, put that on. Let's leave a note. So down one panel. Okay. So we're at 380. We want to watch points as well. So now that's on there. We want to exit, save.
Beautiful job. Just pick up the clue and add
That's
it to the
580. That's
inventory.
200. So 200 for the painting.
Okay, there aren't any mission clues on this floor.
And
Let's
nothing
go
for the
searching on
clue.
another floor.
Alright. So in terms of points, that's that was clue. Oops, where are we? Clue equals 200 points. And so we're getting again that that's a total of 200 points. Move that back one spot there. And let me put that in that nice blue color again. So there was nothing else there. It was just get 200 points from doing this. So that's like super fast, but hardly any points. I mean, it's 380 points in the music room. We've got to get 1,000. But that's a lot of time for 380 points. Painting gallery, hardly any time. I mean, there's a bunch of dialogue that we can't skip, but we can skip some of it. And we get 200 points for picking the second background and going down one panel and stuff. So that's great. Good to know. Now, we could gather data on the other games on this floor and stuff like that, but given that we have to go through and do a bunch of other transquizzer robots and stuff anyway, I don't think that's worth doing right now. We might as well move as quickly through these as we can, as optimally as we can, and we'll get back to them on future run-throughs. So we'll go up a floor and we'll see what we can skip in terms of Botley introducing the next floor. Can we go back down?
You'll see that
Nope.
as we go up higher in the mountain,
Nope.
the professor's inventions
And
get
again,
more
this is stuff that I've
star.
seen get skipped
Here
in
we
speed
have the
runs.
professor's delicate
Botley
biosphere.
just points, then points, then
And
points,
over there,
and
we
says
have the
none of
professor's
this.
Shrinkomatic,
So
an easy
I
way
don't
to
know
shed a
what
few robot pounds.
people must be
That sound
clicking
will
or
take us even
doing.
further up into the mountain, and to some of the professor's other inventions, including his famous time machine.
In
If you
order to
wanna
have
go back
Botley
to
not
the
say
first
any of
floor,
this.
click on these stairs.
Okay. Oh.
Great. I've got a strong reading in the professor's biosphere.
Ah, that's sad. Alright. Interesting.
I'm picking up a clue reading in the professor's
Maybe we need to
biosphere.
check that next time. Because clicking on that like takes you to another screen. It might have just been that we got to the end of his dialogue.
In the professor's biosphere.
And we were able to do that.
Great. I've got a strong...
Yeah, see, so I can
Picking up a
interrupt
clue
that, see? So
reading
he's
in the
talking
professor's
here.
biosphere.
And I can't do that until he's finished talking.
I'm picking up a clue
See,
reading in the
I
professor's
can't trigger
biosphere.
that. But while he's talking,
Let me tell you what we...
I can do that. I can interrupt him up there.
Great. I've got a strong reading in the professor...
That's interesting.
I'm picking up a
Okay.
clue reading in the professor's biosphere. I'm picking up a clue reading in the professor's biosphere.
Good on you, Botley.
Let me tell you what we have on this floor. The professor's
Oh,
biosphere
wow.
is back there.
Does it all again.
And there...
Okay, interesting. Alright, let's get a page for the Professor's
Picking
Biosphere.
up a clue reading in the professor's biosphere.
Alright. So. New notes page. Copy that one. Biosphere. This is the Professor's Biosphere. Okay, now we talk about skippable and unskippable dialogue and stuff like that. So let's work out what we've got in terms of skippable and unskippable dialogue, as well as points and things. So in we go.
See that glass dome? That's Professor Sparks' biosphere.
This all seems unskippable.
In it, he can grow anything he wants. Okay. See that glass dome? That's Professor Sparks'
Still
biosphere.
unskippable.
Great. See that glass dome?
Yeah.
That's Professor Sparks' biosphere.
Okay, so coming in and out
he can
did
grow
nothing.
anything he wants from any part of the world. It's kind of like a vegetable zoo. And to protect the biosphere from outside contamination, the professor has set up a remote control way of working
I mean, this
inside
is
it.
not going to be a
See
fast
over
one
there?
anyway.
Those are explorers the professor designed to fly into the biosphere. And on that monitor is where you can watch the explorer as you maneuver it anywhere you want. Inside, there are 5 different environments to check out. A desert, a rainforest, a mountain range, a grassland, and even an ocean. Each one contains plants and animals.
Yeah, we often forget about half of them.
Places. Oh, Muttley, over here. Daddy doesn't
Oh,
deserve
I thought I
all
was
the
skipping
credit.
something
I
then,
planted some things in the biosphere too.
but it didn't.
Sure, Polly. Whatever you say. I did. You don't have to believe me, but I just thought you might be interested in knowing that I planted a mission clue in there. You can't get your poor robot friend back without
That's
it.
a lot of
Don't
dialogue.
expect me to tell you where I hid it, though. That would be too easy. Polly, the biosphere's huge. You're expecting us to find a needle in the haystack, so to speak. Relax, Nutley. I know Daddy didn't exactly overload you with smarts. I guess I can even the playing field and give you some hints along the way.
Thank you, Polly.
And here's your first hint. Get one of those explorers launched.
Alright.
Even you should be able to understand that.
Well, I'm clicking. I'm trying.
Well, let's launch one of these babies and see what Polly's got in store for us inside that biosphere. Click on the launch button on the console to send the
I'm
explorer
trying.
inside.
Okay.
This is weird. It seems like the explorer is underground. I guess what we need to do is fly up into the biosphere. That should be
And this
right
is all
above us.
unskippable too.
To fly the explorer, use the two. This is weird. It seems like the explorer is underground.
So I went out and
I
went
guess what
in,
we need to do is
but this
fly
was
up
still
into the
unskippable.
biosphere. That should be right above us. To fly the explorer, use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Press the up arrow to blast the explorer forward, and press the left and right arrows to rotate it.
Okay, so that's the point where we can now pick different levels. So a hint often for doing some of these. Oh, we can land there. That's interesting. Often a way that I've seen for skipping dialogue and stuff is to change the level of the mission that you're on. Selecting the same level here doesn't seem to do anything, but we're also going to need to check how many points things are worth on each of the different levels. We haven't had to do that yet for the music room and the painting gallery because they didn't have different levels. Because there will be strategy involved in setting a different level in things like the biosphere, for example, to be able to fly through here faster, perhaps more dangerously, but also to get higher levels of points and things, depending on what we might need for the sake of the run. So we're going to need to gather data on like going in here 3 separate times, which we'll get eventually. So let's mark down what are we going to need. So we need unskippable intro dialogue. Alright, and then we need to make some note of how many points we get and what the questions and their answers are. Now, this is all going to be very random. I don't think we get any points for picking these things up. No. So, look at how slow and steady this is at level 1. Like, there's like literally 0 chance of us crashing into anything at this speed. And how easy it is to pick that up, like how fast we can go. Alright, so, yeah, because this is like randomly generated terrain in here, so the fact that there's a door there is completely random. Like, there's no other doors in here, right? Like, this is... Yeah. That's the only door. There was a dead end there. Alright, let's see if these are going to be the same questions every time. Let's make some notes.
No rush with this one, Rotley. Take time to smell the roses. Which animal can see colors very clearly? A bat, a butterfly, or a prairie dog?
So, can see colours very clearly. Well, that's not a bat. Butterfly, prairie dog? I got no idea. You get a hint? 580. I guess butterfly?
Big deal, you got
Yep.
one right.
So that's 20. So now here's the tricky part. I've got to make note of this. And I need to do it without... that's my pause. Okay, there we go. So, because I can't just let it drop. So that was 20 points, and that was butterfly. So, now I know that these questions aren't the exact same, because we've failed the biosphere before and gone back in and we found that it's the same habitat, but it's different animals, or the same animals in different order or something. So we're going to need to make note of what we get. So we've got butterfly, and that was worth 20 points. Okay, so let's just sort of keep track of these for stay on level 1 for what it's going to take.
Don't scowl, Potley. This'll be over soon. The cries of which animal can be heard a mile away? A mule, a howler monkey, a linsang. That was way too easy.
That's another 20. So howler monkey. So howler monkey. 20 points. Alright. Oh, there we go. Here's our first bonk.
These questions are obviously too easy. I'll have to make them tougher. Which animal doesn't know how to fly? A flying squirrel, a hummingbird, or a seagull?
Well, that's flying
Big
squirrel.
deal, you got one right.
So we've got flying squirrel for another 20 points.
Try this one, sucker. Which animal has suction cups on its feet for climbing trees?
That's going to be the tree
flying
frog.
Fish, a zebra, a tree frog.
So are we in rainforest then?
Yeah, so you got it right.
I wasn't really paying attention, but I'm presuming these have still all been 20 points each. So, tree frog. Let's do the quick maths and just double check. So we got 380, 200 is 580, 600, 620, 640, 660. Yep, so 20 points each. Checks out. Okay, see if we also get 20 for the last one. I assume we will. We'll just get a different amount of points for actually picking up the clue at the end. Here we go.
Maybe this animal should just wear golf clothes, huh, Motley? Which type of animal sometimes has bright wings to advertise how bad it tastes?
That's the
A
moth.
parrot, a grasshopper, or a moth? Yeah, so you got it right.
Yep, another 20. Okay. Which means that we are in rainforest.
Good job. We're above ground.
Unskippable
The professor
dialogue.
reproduced five. Good job. We're
Oh,
above ground.
that does
The
nothing.
professor reproduced five.
Interesting.
Good job.
Alright,
Above ground.
sure.
The professor reproduced 5
I
different
can click
environments
exit,
here.
but I don't want
You'll
to.
have to find the one where Polly hid her clue. Press the space bar to launch a probe. It'll give you an eyewitness view of what's down there. Then match what you find with Polly's hints. When you think you figured out the right environment, land the Explorer in the designated landing pad. Each environment has one.
Okay, so we can go from there. So it's rainforest we're going to, which is this one right here.
That was some smooth landing. Great,
Yep.
you got the clue. Now click on it and put it in your inventory. Then we can get out of here.
So we're going for rainforest, which was the second habitat. And we want to stay low, because the thing's right there. We want to see how many points that this is worth. So we're at 680.
Let's move on. There's no mission clue here.
So that was just 50. Yep. So same sort of thing as that. Let me just copy that across. So biosphere. So picking up the clue gave us 50 points. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Wow. So that's only 150 points. Now that's all level 1. So let me make note of that. Level 1. Okay, because I'm sure doing that at higher levels are going to get us more points. Because that is a lot of time committed for like practically no points in comparison to things. So next robot, or next time that we end up in the biosphere, we'll bump it to level 2. We'll check to see if we get the same clues in a different order, or if we get different animals, but if it's still rainforest or not. Because it might be the sort of thing where, like, if the biosphere turns up, the run's just scuffed, you know, and we just abandon the run or something because it's just like not viable, something like that. Okay. All right. So there's nothing on this floor.
Let's move on. There's no mission clue here.
Yep. All right. So let's go up and see what we can skip. Oh, and he does the long animation. Nothing here is skippable. None of this appears skippable.
Yes, we're at the very top of the mountain.
Can't push
Just
escape.
knowing what's up
Can't go
here
back
gives me
down.
chills. Still, I'd go anywhere and
Again,
face
just
any danger to save
unskippable
my
dialogue.
fellow robots. Over there, we have the professor's observatory. Once, a while ago, he caught Polly spying on the neighbors with the telescope. Boy, did she get a nice long time out. In that room is a little obstacle course, sort of a robot boot camp. The professor uses it to test out his new robots. Of course, I passed with flying colors when I was tested, but sometimes he comes across a robot with a few bugs that need to be worked out. If you want to go back downstairs, just click on the tram. Oh, and over there, behind those
Time
forbidden
machine.
stone doors, that's where the professor stores the time machine. There's no way to open it, though, until we have all of Polly's mission clues and, of course, enough invention points. Stand back now while I sense the place out.
Oh,
This is the I'm getting a strong clue reading in the robot maze.
oh.
We're back at the...
And of course we can skip everything. Oh, okay, amazing. So that's interesting. While he was saying what room we were in for the clue, I'm able to click on a room. I mean, you know, that only saves like all of 5 seconds, which is not going to be make or break in any kind of run here. But that's interesting. Huh. So it turns out it's the robot maze. Yes, we can change levels in this, but we are well familiar with the robot maze. And with skipping this dialogue by just clicking on here. So let's make a note of this one. Robot maze. Notes page. Let's put this one up here. Robot maze. So, robot maze. Intro dialogue is skippable. Okay, so click on maze directions. Click on maze instructions. Alright, now again, the question is about whether or not this is going to be the exact same maze every time. So I made sure to not move them around yet. Oh wow! Good evening, trends. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we're 57 minutes into things, but that's okay. Good to have you here. Interesting that it's so delayed to get the notification out tonight. Not sure what that's in aid of. But anyway, so let's find the path. Let's find the minimal amount of things we have to change to get that path laid out. So we've got to do the log west. We've got to jump south. We've got to avoid the quicksand here. Clearly the jump south is just to come down here and go across, right? So this is just going to be south 2. Yep. Then the log west. Then we've got to go to south 3. So south 2, log west, south 3. Then the jump south and the west 5. And there's no other choice there. So what's the quickest way to move those around? We have to get south 2 up to the top. So I think we have to move that one up to the top. So number 4 has to go up to position 1. So move 4 up to position 1. And then move 5 up to position 3. And we're done. Yep. Okay, so let's do that. And there's no skipping of this. Nothing I can do differently. So while he's doing that, let's make notes of this. So what was this? So instructions. So move 4th to 1st. What did I have for the music room?
Fantastic! The robot made
Move.
it through the maze.
Yeah.
You are some slick programmer.
So we're going to move 4 to 1.
Just put the clue in the inventory and let's beat a path out of this
And then
place.
5 to 3. Something like that. That's not at all how I wrote that. Okay. For consistency. So move 4 to 1. And then 5 to 3. So move 4th to 1st. And 5th to 3rd. And that's going to go off the screen. So coding. There we go. Alright, so this is how to code the robot. Move the 4th command up to the top, move the 3rd command to the 5th command to the 3rd, and that's the fastest way to rearrange them. And we want to see how many points we're going to get. So just like in the biosphere, we're going to need clue, we're going to need total, and we're going to need to have this at specific level. So we're going to need clue and we're going to need total. But of course, yeah, that's all at level 1. So I mean that's going to be what that is. Whoops, there's a gap there all of a sudden. Yeah, because the amount of points is going to be relative to the level, and the instructions are going to change relative to the level. So level 1 is where it'd be at, unless this is not worth enough points. So let's see. We're at the 730. How many do we get for picking this up?
All right, we got all
150.
the mission clues. Now all we need is enough invention points. We need 1,000 total. How about playing a game on the first floor to win some more invention points?
Okay, so that's interesting. So in terms of points, Robot Maze fairly fast because we can skip all of its dialogue, which is insane. We have to wait for him to walk the maze, but it's quite quick to just set those instructions, and then we get 150 points straight up. Painting Gallery, similarly, we have to wait for all of the unskippable dialogue this time, Mrs. Beasley, but then we can skip the painting dialogue, and that's quite quick to do, and that gets us 200 points. So Robot Maze and Bias and Painting Gallery are very fast, but not many points, perhaps? I mean, Biosphere was like as many points as Robot Maze, but Robot Maze is way quicker than Biosphere. But maybe if we put the Robot Maze up to higher levels, we get more points, etc., etc. So I don't want to go in and do the Robot Maze again now to see that more points, because it will definitely be a different maze layout. So we've got to make sure we're getting data on like the first one we see. not on other ones. So what are we going to do? We need more invention points to go into the time machine. So we could just like waste doing another one. We could waste another painting gallery just in case we need it for more points. Because we can't change level on that, so there's nothing more to learn from that. So we could do it again, see if we get another 200 or if we get more now. So, because that's a fast one to redo now. So, and we'll see if it's what the second sort of picture is. So let's
We've collected
jump
all
back
the
down to the
machines.
painting gallery. So I watched a boring cartoon yesterday about a boring boy in his boring living room. So it's living room and boy. Okay, so that's what this second picture is. So we're going to need some more space for this. So let me do another one for painting gallery. So let me copy this painting gallery. Let's go repeat. So this is painting gallery repeat. And so then there's no dialogue because we're coming in for a repeat on this one. And so our instructions are living room and boy. Now, what background numbers and things are these? So the living room is the last background. So and the boy, we've got to go now because we're coming in on a repeat. This is already on the panel that's got the skull still on it. So we're already down that one panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the first one. We've got to go down 4 panels. So down 4 panels. First. Okay. So it's the first one after we've gone down 4 panels. Put him on. Exit. We're on 880.
Nice going. Let's take the invention points
So that's
and move on.
that's 1,000. That's 200. So that's straight up 200 for doing that. So it's not clue now. It's just finish. You get 200 points. And then the actual invention points
We've got
is
everything we need to
500.
complete this mission. And since time
Well, that's
is of the utmost
insane.
importance, let's get to the time machine immediately.
Like, that is super fast. That's how we get extra invention points. That's incredible. So, finish is 200, and then we've got invention points equals 500 points for a total here of 700. Like, that makes up everything. I think that's our play. There's a total of 700 extra points here. We would never need 700 extra, but we might need 200 extra. And we can shave off a second or two there by not bothering to pick up the invention points, by just literally completing the painting and running out of there. And that gets us an extra 200 points. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. So getting fast ones like the robot maze and the painting gallery, and even doing robot maze on level 1, make it faster or something, that may all be actually completely worth it because we can just go into the painting gallery a second time. Ooh. I mean, we've got to waste a little bit of time going up and down floors. It's the sort of thing where you could always risk it by preemptively doing 2 painting galleries on the ground floor or something, but I mean, that's something you might decide on the fly based on what the ground floor clues are. Like if one of the ground floor clues is the painting gallery, you would definitely go in and do it for a second time. Like you wouldn't you wouldn't ever go in and do this if you hadn't already done it once. You've got to do it as a repeat. Otherwise, it's not worth it because there's no dialogue when you do it on the repeat. Everything's skipped. But it's pointless going to do this if you never did the painting gallery to start with, because then you have to get all of this unskippable dialogue. So that's quite interesting. Alright, so let's put a note there, can leave early, and get just the 200 points. Alright, well we've got enough to go upstairs now to the time machine, and this is where we want to record a bit more timing again. So we've got timing in here for Transquizzer dialogue disc times. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me move these up one. So we've got let's go well, that's underlined. Transquizzer so 2 minutes 36. So 2 min 36 and seconds. So this is the disc at the start. Alright, so I'm going to repurpose this sheet for multiple things. So 3, 4. And let me put an extra space in each of these. So robot 2, robot 3, robot 4, robot 5. And yeah, no, I can't afford to actually have heading space now for what I'm about to do. So let me move it all up one. So we're going to have the disk time here. We're going to need over here space for the time it takes to actually do the Pollywood squares, the quiz at the end up the top here, and then we're going to need to just be able to combine those into a total time. So I'm going to have total in each of these. Okay, so we're heading up to Pollywood Squares. Where are we?
We should go to. We've got everything we need.
Now,
Take a deep breath.
there's
and click on the time machine door
again,
back there.
there's unskippable stuff here that I'm going to set a timer for, and we're going to see how long this takes. And so, where am I going to start the timer? Because there's stuff that we can't skip here. The bit that's going to be different based on which Transquizzer disc we've picked will be where Monty Monitor starts saying what each of the clues represent. So maybe I will start the timer from when we push the on button up there, and we'll stop the timer as soon as the key appears on the final screen. And we're going to use that to sort of map the exact amount of time we've got. So we're going to head in there. Before we head in there though, I will point out I have notes here. The answer key for Pollywood Squares for each of these, which is unfortunately ever so slightly a little bit too tiny for me to read on the stream. Let me just see if I can't make things a bit bigger. No, not easily. I'd have to move things around. That's a bit awkward. I'm gonna have to write that down. So 1, 2, 3 is the first, second, and third option. for each of this. I just went back through and I looked at my previous streams to see what the correct answers were that we picked for each of the questions. There are 12 questions in each of the quizzes, 4 batches of 3 questions for each clue, option 1, 2, and 3. You can see that option 2 and 3 are far more common than option 1, which I guess is just psychologically when you're picking multiple choice questions, you're going to put the right answer either in the middle or at the end. Probably just more often than the first one on the list. A bit of weird psychology there in writing the questions. But let me write down on paper what I've got there so that I can see it without having to flick between screens. And then I can do that a bit more quickly. Looking for a pen. There we go. Alright, so for robot number 1, it's a 3-2-3, and then a 2-3-3, and then a 3-3-2, and then a 2-2-2. So assuming that I didn't get any of that wrong when I actually copied that down the first time. Excuse me. That's how long all of that should take. Well, that's exactly what all that should be. We need to record how long it's going to take to do all these. So let's go back to the game. So I said that somewhere where I can see it. There we go. Now jump into the time machine. We're going to clicking on things as fast as we can.
Wow.
Yep.
Excuse me if I sound... I hope you're ready for more
No.
adventure.
So exit, go in. Can I skip things at all?
Wow.
No.
Excuse
We
me
have
if I
to
sound sort of
we have to
odd,
wait for all
but
of
I wasn't
this.
sure we'd make it to the time machine mission
Okay.
control. It's impressive, huh? This is Professor Spark's most important work to date.
So this is all
The time
unskippable.
machine extraordinaire.
But it's the same
The
for every
professor created
robot.
it so he could witness the invention of anything you can think of. Just go back in time and observe. He would never meddle, not like Polly. When he finds out what she's been up to, I wouldn't be surprised if she's in for some serious time out. Now we need to figure out where we have to go in history to complete this mission.
Yep.
That odd-looking machine will help with that task.
I know, Botley.
It's
I'm
called
trying to go to it.
Wheel of Invention, and by using Polly's mission clues, we can figure out which inventor we need to find. The professor tried to ensure that not just anybody could use the time machine. You need to know something about history, science, art, a little
Yes,
bit of
Botley.
everything, really. So click on the wheel and let's get going.
I'm trying. Alright.
We finally made it.
Still
This is where we
unskippable.
bring everything together and figure out how to find the
Can't
robot
back.
that Polly sent back in time. This is the professor's wheel of invention. It's an obstacle to the time machine. You see, some of the robots kept wanting to travel back in time to taunt the early computers, but you can't have that. So the professor devised a little quiz that's too difficult for the robots. But hopefully it's not too difficult for you. Oh, brother. Polly's reprogrammed the wheel so it's no longer just a quiz. It's a quiz show.
It's a quiz show.
It seems the show's called Pollywood Squares. You're the first contestant.
This is how you play. Answer 3 questions for each of the clues you collected. You'll find out what, when, where, and who. All the information you need to create a profile of your mission.
Once the game begins, you gotta work fast and try to answer each question on the first try. That way you'll win the time key faster and win the most points. Ready, set, okay, let's begin. Just click the on button to start.
Points don't really matter because at this stage, more points means nothing. So I'm going to start the timer as I click the on button. And because then from this point on, everything that happens here now depends upon which robot we're rescuing. Because these clues will be different, which means this dialogue and the length of these questions will take different amounts of time. So, ready? We're going to click the on button, and we're going to start the timer off screen at 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, kids and robots of all
Alright.
ages, it's time to play.
Let's see how long this takes.
Pollywood
I feel like this is going to
Squares
take like
with your
almost
intelligent
10
host,
minutes. Like this is going to take more than
Monty
5 minutes,
Monitor.
surely.
Answer all the questions
to get through
correctly,
this.
and you'll be sent back in time
We'll
on
optimize our
Space
clicks
Stage to rescue
as much as
poor
we can.
Cosmobot. Your first clue is a pork chop. The pork chop will show you what your mission is
So this
all
is
about.
3, 2, 3
I love
to
pork
start
chops,
with.
and I'm not the only
So,
one. Pork chops can be found
Nothing
in
can be skipped
cuisines
here.
all
Mission
around the
escape,
world.
clicking.
Pork chops
Option
come from
3.
which farm animals? That's right.
Alright.
Pork chops come from pigs.
Next one's
So does
2,
ham and
so I
bacon.
can line
It's
myself up
all
now.
pork and it comes from pigs. Pigs are
Right,
the
here for
only
option 2.
animals besides humans whose skin can get what painful condition? You're right. Hey, pigs get
And the next one's
sunburns
option
just
3.
like people. Sunburns are caused by overexposure to the powerful rays of the
I
sun.
guess I should have this up on screen for you
Our
guys,
sun
rather
is
than the
actually
times.
a star. It's the center of a group of heavenly bodies known as what?
So, third one.
You did it!
Right, so we're
Yay!
already a minute
Another
15
word for
in.
the sun is solar.
Let me get
That's why they
over to
call it
that.
the
There you go.
solar
You guys can look at
system.
this one.
Uh-huh. So it seems that Polly sent
So,
Cosmobot back
coming
to
up
the
on a
time
minute
in
30.
history when the solar system was discovered. But where was that?
So this is going to be like 6 minutes if they all take a minute
Your second
30.
clue is a postage stamp.
So this is
and it will
2,
tell
3,
you where
3.
in the world your mission will take you. Postage stamps are a way to pay for sending letters and packages. Before postage stamps were invented, the person who received a letter had to pay for it, not the person who sent it. The postage stamp
Alright,
was
so
first
number
invented by an
2.
Englishman named Roland Hill. What country did the English inventor of the postage stamp come from? That's right.
And then line us up for number
Jolly
3.
good. English people come from England, and England is part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Now, let's see how good you are at geography. Great Britain is located on which continent?
Option number 3.
Right. Ho-ho. Great Britain is in Europe,
And then
the
option 3
second
again.
smallest continent on Earth. What country is located in the very center of the continent of Europe? Correct. Yes.
Alright.
Poland is a large country in the center of Europe. Polish people make delicious pork sausages and dance to a unique style of music called polka. Poland's also the place where the solar system was first discovered.
Thanks, Monty.
Okay.
We now know that the solar system was discovered in Poland.
We're up to
What
3
we
minutes.
don't know is when it was discovered and by whom.
So it's still about a minute 30 on that same one. So this
The
is now
third clue
332.
is a dollar bill. It will tell you when in history the solar system was discovered. If you had $1 million bills, you'd be a millionaire. The first kid ever to earn $1 million was a famous movie star named Shirley Temple. The dollar
Alright, 3.
gets its name from a coin once used in a European country, known for its mountains, castles, beer, and frankfurters. Which country was that?
Country number 3.
Wunderbar! In Germany, the coin they
3
called
again.
the dollar was made out of a precious metal. Precious metals are metals that are not commonly found on Earth. Which of the following metals is a precious metal?
Metal number 3.
That's right.
And then number 2.
Silver is a valuable precious metal that is often used for making coins. Silver was first used to make the German dollar 500 years ago. Which is the earliest year you could have used a German dollar to buy a frankfurter?
Something after 1490. Yep.
That's right.
That one.
In 1531, the silver coin called the dollar could have bought you plenty of German frankfurters. 1531 also happens to be the year when the solar system was discovered.
Okay, coming up on
Almost
430.
there.
Right
All we need
now.
to find out is the person in Poland
So that's again
who
another 90
discovered
seconds.
the solar system in 1531.
Which is interesting. I wonder if these are all going to be minute 30.
This is your fourth and final clue.
And
The
this one's just
sundial will
222.
tell you who first
Everything's the
discovered
middle answer.
solar system. A sundial tells the time as a shadow moves across a surface marked with the hours of the day. The Egyptians invented the sundial 5,000 years ago, and it was one of the earliest ways of measuring time. A sundial works due to the movement of what heavenly body? You are correct.
We seriously
Even though
overthunk
the
that
sun
question when we did it
creates
the first
shadow
time.
that moves across a sundial, it's really the Earth that's moving, not the sun. While the Earth spins, it also moves around the sun. What is the Earth's movement around the sun called?
It's a revolution.
That's right. The Earth revolves around the sun. It takes 1 year to make one revolution. Who discovered
Now
that
I
the
know I
Earth
said that I was going to
revolves
stop
around
this
the
when the key
sun?
appears, but I'm not going to. I'm
Right
going to
you
keep the
are.
timer going
Copernicus was the Polish
because
astronomer
I
who
forgot
discovered
that
the solar system
going
in
inside the time machine is
1531.
also going to have different length
Before his
dialogues
discovery,
depending upon the
people
robot.
thought that everything
So
revolved around the Earth.
we're going to
Okie
there.
dokie.
We're gonna rush that. We're doing that. Those clicks as fast as we can. Click on me to begin.
Wow, I never thought I'd see the inside of this thing. Pretty cool, huh? The professor made it clear this
Yep.
time machine was off limits to anyone but him. But with
So we
Polly
are at
about to
6 minutes
send the
here.
world out of control, I think the professor would
So that
understand.
did take about
Looks
6
pretty
minutes to do
complicated,
that.
huh? But let's see if we can figure out how this baby works. That looks like our window into the
Because all
past.
this is unskippable,
Look,
which is
all the
annoying.
information you found at the wheel is now neatly in place up there. I guess the time key did that. This lever looks important. Click on me if you think I should pull it. Maybe it'll start things up. Next stop, Poland, to
Okay,
visit
so
the
here we're
great
going.
scientist Copernicus.
So
He's about to discover
as
that
soon
the
as we
sun
hit
is
the
the
robot
center of the
roost,
solar system.
we stop the timer. That's what this is going to be.
There's Copernicus.
And as
on
I
the brink of
understand
making
it,
his
the
great
minute we
discovery.
retrieve the robot, we can
But
leave.
look, Polly has reprogrammed the Russian robot Cosmobot to paint her picture on the model
So
of the
that'll be
sun.
our
Nyet,
gauge of time.
Cosmobot, nyet!
So the minute we get him back,
Thanks to Cosmobot, Copernicus has
we
decided
stop
that
the
the
timer.
Earth revolves around Polly. And we thought she had a swelled head before. Hit the recall button. It's our only chance. This is where the professor stores all his time-traveling
Right.
robots. I call it
So
the
that's the end
robot
of the
roost.
run. The
Believe you
minute
me,
that we
these guys
hit
have
the
been
robot
around the
roost
block a
here,
few times.
that was when the run
The
ended.
problem is, we have to get them all back
So
from the
I
different
was
places
mashing
and
escape
times that
there,
Polly sent
and
them.
as soon as I hit
Right
the
now,
recall
though, it's
button
one
and the
down
animation
and 24 more
started
to go.
to
We
recall the
gotta start
robot,
somewhere.
I'm
Just let me
gonna
store
mute
this
Botley
robot
here.
for
There we go. So I'm gonna do that. There we go. So yeah, as soon as we got the robot back, then that was it. That was the end of the run. So all of this is after the run now. Um, the minute you hit the recover button and you hit escape, you instantly go into the robot roost. So that's where the official timing of the run ends. So if I jump back over to the notes now, we're going to timing. So the time that it took to do all of that, and I might be out by like 1 second or something because I sort of got myself surprised all of a sudden where I was able to click recall with one hand, hit escape with the other hand, and then using a third hand had to stop my stopwatch. So that was 7 minutes 15. Like it was 15.6 seconds, but I'm going to round it down to 15. Take off that bit of extra time it took me to sort of push the button and stuff like that. So that's all of the locked-in dialogue at the end that we can't skip past. So what does that come out to? That comes out to quick maths. Come on, Sharky. 7, 8, 9. That's 9 minutes. 9 minutes and 30, 40, 51 seconds. Okay, there it is. So that is the absolute limits. You cannot shave off those 9 minutes and 51 seconds from rescuing this first robot. Because that is just stuff that cannot be skipped with reading the disc at the start and getting Polly's opening clues and completing the time machine at the end. So we've got to do this 5 times for those 5 robots to find out which of these robots is the optimal one for unskippable dialogue and things like that. So let me bring all the sound back, everything like that, because we have to now do all this again.
Let's get moving.
Thanks, Botley.
Or Polly will be one step ahead.
We're not going to
Really
get
should
moving.
start a mission.
We're actually going to exit the game, which involves crashing the game, unfortunately. It's just the way that this works, because the game's a bit busted at times. So we do that, crash the game. You guys can't see what's going on. That's fine. Bam, the game's crashed. All right. So we boot the game back up. We dive in with another attempt.
Well, hello.
So, first test
We've
run.
been waiting for you. Please sign in. We've got a busy day ahead. If you're new
Second
to this
test run.
school,
Okay.
please use the key. Please enter and have a
So
seat.
this one we're going to go for the second
No
robot.
slouching
And
in
we're going to
this
gather some data
classroom.
about this.
Is that gum
Going to
in
see
your
what's the
mouth?
same, what's different.
Sorry, my mistake.
Look at that. We spam our way in.
This is the
And
professor's home and laboratory.
none of this is
It's an
skippable.
entirely
So again,
self-sufficient environment.
we're kind
You
of,
don't have to leave the mountain for
you
anything.
know, we're stuck
The
here.
professor even included
How's that?
recreational and
You guys can still
cultural
hear that, can't you?
activities, so he and
Haha,
Polly
that's
wouldn't get
clever. I've
bored.
muted me, but
I
not you.
suppose I should give you the 2-cent tour
There we
of
go.
the place. Over there's the kitchen where we feature
So we have to
the
wait for all
very
this
finest robot
every
cuisine.
time. This
Back there's the
is
art
also
gallery. Through
unskippable,
that
but
door
I'm
is
not
the music
timing
hall.
this
When Polly
because
takes
this
her
is
weekly music lesson
unskippable. That
there,
is
the whole
common
place
to every
clears out.
robot.
Behind that door are stairs leading to
We're
the
only
professor's
timing the
jumbo
unskippable
electrode
things that
generator.
can
If
vary in
necessary,
time
we might have
based
to
on
go
which
down there
robot
to power up.
we actually
Finally,
do.
that
So
stairway leads to the upper floors, filled with
we'll
the
just humour
professor's
Botley.
inventions.
Let all this
His
come
most
through.
amazing invention, the time machine, is at the very top. Maybe later we'll have time to
While
explore.
that happens,
but
I'm just
now
going
we
to go
have
and turn the
stop
fan
Polly
up a
from
little bit
making the
because
world too weird.
it's a hot
To do
evening
that,
here in
we need to
Australia.
find
So
that
let
quiz
me just
disc.
go and quickly turn that up a
Hey,
bit.
there it is.
Be right back.
Pull out the transquizer by clicking on the inventory button on the utility belt.
Alright. Surprise, he's back. And of course, I did that right as Botley was finishing his dialogue, didn't I? Okay, so into here.
All right, it looks like the disc.
We're going to do
should
the
be
second one.
inserted in the slot near the top of the
This is all
transquizer.
still unskippable.
Good morning,
Mashing
Polly.
the second
I hope
robot.
you've studied for the quiz today. You may have a lot of natural ability.
But again,
but even
this is just
geniuses
common
need to
unskippable
study.
dialogue.
That's Polly's teacher, Ms. Winkle. At that school on the hill, everything's state of the art.
Everything's
All the
state of the
quizzes
art.
are personalized, programmed, and videotaped by the teacher. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool, huh?
Now, today's quiz is all about inventions and
Discoveries.
Something you should know plenty about, Polly. But no fair asking your
Your
father
father
for
for help.
See, everyone's impressed by the professor. There are 25 questions total, Polly. 5 on each of the 5 discs I've passed out to you and the rest of the class. That's 5 different levels. So, sit up straight,
Sit up
put on
straight.
your thinking cap, and select your first question.
Alright, mash, mash, mash.
Okay, what we should do
Yes, Botley,
first
oh, I
is
know.
select one of the quiz questions. Just click on any one of the 5 buttons near the bottom of the transquizer. Since we've got to bring all the robots back,
The order doesn't matter.
really matter.
Yep. Okay, so we're going for the second robot. So I'm going to push the yellow and we're going to start the timer.
Start button will play this question.
Yes, I know, Botley. Ready? Starting the timer on 3, 2, 1, go.
During the ancient Olympic Games, all wars would come to a stop.
Okay, so again,
and a truce would be called
we let
for
all of
3
this dialogue
months.
play
That
through.
gave the soldiers enough
Then
time
we
to
put away the
travel to
transquizer.
games, compete,
Then we let
return
Polly
home to
come
continue
down.
fighting.
She
What
says
did
her
athletes of
clues.
the ancient Olympics get
Then
for
Botley
winning?
makes some comments.
A prize that would make anyone
And then we
run
stop the
faster and
timer
jump higher.
as soon as
A bouquet
Botley starts to
of
say which
flowers and a
room the clues
diamond
are in.
tiara. Here
Because
I
that's where
am,
we go back
Miss
out into the
Olympic
randomness.
Games. Yes,
So that
that's
seems relatively
absolutely
quick.
right, Polly. The winners at the first Olympics were treated like beauty queens. Oh no!
And we're trying to beat 2.5
Polly's gone
minutes
too
here.
far this time. If she gets her way, the strong and brave ancient Olympians will be treated like beauty queens. You can't run a marathon in high heels. Well, not very well, at least. Click on the inventory
Alright,
button to put
mashing
away
the inventory
transquizer.
button. There we go. And then we're still letting the timer run.
Polly, you know I've been programmed to clean up your messes, and that includes bringing back my robot pals. I know you
So this
won't
bit's
tell me
still
where they
common
are,
now,
but
this
how
bit.
about a little hint? Well, it just so happens, Sutley, that I realized long ago that you would try to mess up my work, so I covered my tracks by hiding clues all over the mountain.
So no
4
matter which
clues
robot we
total.
picked, she says
You
this
and your
every
friend will
time.
have to find and collect them all. And even if you can find them all, which I
Highly
highly
doubt.
you can, you will still have to go to Daddy's time machine and figure out where I sent the robot if you expect
We're up to 1 minute 30
Oh,
already.
by the way, you know how Daddy feels about amateurs going into the time machine room. It's a very sensitive piece of equipment, you know. So, before a hunk of rusty bolts like you can get inside, you'll have to earn a bunch of invention points. 1,000 of them should just about do it for starters. Well, Polly, okay.
We have no choice but to
It looks
play
like
by
we have
your
no choice
rules.
but to play by your rules, as unfair as they are. Just tell
Tell
us
us
what
what we
we
have
need
to
to
do.
find for this
Alright,
mission.
then the machine does
Let's
that.
spoil sports
Right, now
sneaky.
this is
If you
custom.
want to try to ruin my fun, first you'll have to find 4 clues. A pigeon, a torch,
So
2 masks,
that's
and a
relative to
piece
this
of
robot.
pottery. I sent Rhonda Robot back in time.
Yep, because it's
She's
about
the
this
reigning
robot.
beauty
We're up to 2
queen.
minutes 15. And Botley says his bit
Rhonda Robot. She's
about the
won
robot.
Miss Silicon
Then
Chip
as soon as
contest
he
3 years
goes
running.
shh, as soon as he
That's
shushes us for the
talent.
clues,
We better work extra
we stop
hard
it.
to rescue Rhonda from
We're at
Polly's wicked ways
2:26.
and save the Olympics while we're at it. Finding the clues should be a little less hopeless with my powerful censoring device. Professor Spark hooked me up this way so I
2:36.
could
There
better
it is.
keep an eye on Polly. I can monitor every nook and cranny of the mountain. Stand back now while I sense the place out.
Okay.
Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hid a mission clue in the kitchen. There's another mission clue in the professor's virtual collection. That's in the art gallery.
That was 2 minutes 42. So, what we've just learnt is that is 6 seconds slower to pick this second robot, but that is meaningless at the moment without knowing how long it takes the time machine to do at the end, because the time machine questions for this robot may just be super fast. We don't know that. We're going to have to find that out. So, it was kitchen and virtual collection, was it?
Keep still while I sense around for clues. Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hid a mission clue in the kitchen.
Yep.
Voila! Another mission clue is hidden in the professor's virtual collection. That's in the art gallery.
Alright, well we might do it out of order. We might go to the virtual collection, then we'll come back to the kitchen because it's complicated with how many points and things we can get for things and what we can and can't skip. So let's talk virtual collection. Let me get a page ready for virtual collection. So let's copy the painting gallery page because it's gonna have stuff in there. We've done it again. We've duped the music again. Wow, that's wow. So I didn't realize Owen Wilson was joining us tonight. Virtual collection. Okay. Sorry if that's like destroying anyone's brain listening to that. Virtual collection. So the Mrs. Beasley dialogue is unskippable. Now, can we enter and exit to skip explanation? We're going to need to find that out, and then we're going to need to do some instructions for these other bits and see what we get for the clue and for the total. Alright, so let's jump in and let's see what we can and can't skip here. So again, you know, he just walks in, we've learnt
Professor
this.
Spark's art gallery.
There's nothing to
It's sort of
skip
an
yet.
art museum and an art studio
It's about what
combined.
can we skip when we actually get
That
to
odd-looking machine
the
over
virtual
there
collection
is a
part.
virtual collection, where the professor keeps a display of some of the most famous works of art in the world. You can also go into the painting gallery in the back to create your own masterpiece. Don't forget to bring your imagination.
If you're going to visit the gallery, you let me know if you find any of Polly's things hidden
Right,
in there.
spam clicking.
If I've told her once, I've told her 1,000 times.
Spam and
Don't
escape.
mess up the collection. Of course, she doesn't listen to me. Why, once I found a Romanesque urn next to a Baroque.
That's Mrs. Beasley. She's the resident art
Some
expert.
say she's older than
Some
some of
say
the
she's as old as
exhibits.
some of the Greco-Roman statues.
Ah, that's
I
what
heard
it is.
that, you hotshot silicon chipsters. So smart and
So what?
fast and so what? I've got more sense in my vacuum tubes than a lot of you.
Well, if we have any questions about the art, we'll be sure to ask you. Check out the virtual collection. I sense there's a mission clue
Yeah,
there.
I'm trying Botley. I'm clicking.
Well, Bootly, bing.
Okay, so is that gonna?
Okay, you can look at some famous works of art in the virtual collection by clicking on that machine. Or you can click on the painting gallery in the back if you want to get creative.
So, yeah.
Okay, Botley and Company.
But
There
that didn't
is a
save us
clue in the
anything.
virtual collection. You just have to figure out where. Would it be too much to ask you for a little hand, Polly? Here, Spotly, 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 Spotly.
Stay right where you are, Botley. She's referring to an artist named Whistler. We have a portrait of his mother in the collection.
This is a device that
Ooh. Okay. A portrait of Whistler's mother. Now, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting Georgia O'Keeffe. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder if that's because I left the room and came back in. Oh. So Mrs. Beasley dialogue is unskippable. Um, um, uh, so, so pull lever to skip Botley explanation. And we're looking for portrait of Whistler's mother. So rat religious art when we clicked on it that once. So we're going to have to pull it once. Oh, look at that. And then it's the middle one. So it's Whistler's mother. So portraits. Pull lever. And I've realized now by writing that I've wrote level up there as well. Pull lever once. And I'm going to capitalize that. Pull lever once. And we're going to say mid, because it's in the middle. So, and this is all level 1 as well. There could be options of doing this at multiple levels to skip, changing the level to skip certain dialogue options. There was no point yet because we did the lever to get into here. That skipped the dialogue. So let's spam that.
James Whistler painted this.
What if I change it now?
we have to find.
So I'm assuming it's still.
This James Whistler painted this portrait of his.
So doing that does nothing for us. Also, we've gotten 50 points here, I'm noticing.
We have to find the right work of art to collect the mission clue.
Oh, I can do this to get 50 extra points. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, that's awkward. Okay. We need to make note of this, that this is getting us 50 points. I hope that the picture hasn't changed. Like, that it is still this same thing every time. One more. So we need to note this down. That this is 50 points. Okay, because we've just done that a bunch of times inadvertently.
This James Whistler
So we
painted
let that go
this portrait
through.
of his mother.
Don't
to
change
show
the level
that
again.
portraits didn't have to be of famous people. The most important thing to Whistler was the quality of the painting itself. Like a musician, Whistler tried to create a pleasing harmony of shapes, lines, form, and color. How many geometric shapes can you find in this portrait?
Okay, so we can skip that. Yep. So we can pull over to skip Botley, mash, escape to skip Polly. Alright. So we can do that. Now this is going to be the hardest one to do fast. Assuming that this is always going to be this and in this pattern, which it may not. It may not be. So we've got Spartans as warriors. So this one's going to have to only just notification. Katooth, you're in the same boat as Trans. I don't know what's happened this evening. We've got super late notifications going out. That's okay. Don't know what the cause of that is, but that's alright. So I can see that this one just needs to rotate to go to there. This one needs to go down the bottom here, but also rotate as well. So rotations aside, this one's in the correct spot. This one needs to swap with this one. So again, minimizing the amount of stuff we have to move. This one has to go up here though. So, yep, we can swap this with this. If we swap this one with this one now, this race and statue one has now gone down the bottom here. And where's that about to go? Race and statue. Statue's going to go up here with marble. So statue's going to go there with marble, which means race is going to go here with marathon. So this last one is in the correct spot as well. So this first one and this last one are both in the correct spot. They just need to go up the other way. How am I going to notate this? And then these four have to cycle. So C has to go up here. Which way around was this? So yep, C's going up here. Parthenon's coming down here. Yep. So he's going up here. If Parthenon's down there, I'm doing way too much of this in my head. This means fishing boat needs to come down here. So fishing boat comes down here. Parthenon goes down there. C goes up there. Statue goes up there. So they cycle in that order, which is annoying because it's click to swap, not click to cycle or anything. So what have I got to switch? If I've got to do 4 switches no matter what, right? Because I need all of these to move, all 4 of these to move one spot. There's no way to do this in less than 4 switches. So yeah, even if it's switch. So it would be if I swap. What's the closest I need to get? So if I swap that here, and then bring that one down here, then I've just got to swap these two. Yeah, that's 3. That's 3. Okay, so swap. Oh, now I've got to document this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they're in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move 3. Move 3 to 2, then 2 to 5, then swap 2 and 4. So 3 to 2, 2 to 5. So let's move 3 to 2, and then 2 to 5, and then 4 to 1, 4 to 2. Alright, so that's what I think my instructions are. So let's check that this is right and I haven't completely messed this up. So 3 to 2, 2 to 5, and 4 to 2. And I have to wait for all that. I can't like move something else while that's going. Now they should all be in the correct spot. And now I just need to spin a bunch of these. So a G and C is correct, but everything else needs to go upside down. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 all need to rotate twice. So let me write that. So rotate 180, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now there's some double clicking here because I've got to click to rotate, then I've got to unclick. So there would be a more optimal way to do that because I could click on it, rotate it, then move it.
I bet Polly's got steam coming out her ears.
Now I got no points for that.
Stop you. Let's get the mission clue and go.
So it's just going to be the clue that gives us the points here. So pick it up.
Good job. Now put it into bingo.
200 for the clue.
I've sensed
All
a
right.
mission clue in the kitchen.
So 200 points for getting the clue, 50 points for picking the painting. So that's a total of 250. Now I know that we're at 300, but that's because we picked the picture twice or whatever we did when we changed difficulty and stuff. And I feel like we need to confirm that on a clean run to make sure we haven't messed up the points. I'm also concerned by the fact that was with Whistler's mother, and that was not Georgia O'Keeffe with her beautiful painting. I thought that was the first virtual collection one, and maybe because we went in and out like that, it scrambled it. So we should gather more data on this one. So let me write up here. Needs another run. There we go. This one, ooh, wow, that's a bad color for that. Dear. I guess we just do it in the blue again. Alright. There we go. So that needs another run. Because we need to get a better idea about that. And all of that was on level 1. Yeah. So let me make note of that too. That's all level 1. Because we find ourselves in sort of interesting case with this as well, because we can change the level when we were getting the painting, and then presumably it's still Whistler's mother, but we suddenly get more points for it. But then we got like no points for actually doing the rearrange the tiles. So moving to a higher difficulty seems kind of completely useless there. Like, we make it harder for no actual tangible gain. So we're going to have to examine the virtual collection again on another clean run. See how that goes. But next is gathering data for the kitchen. So we need info like in the music room with skippable dialogue and door locks and things like that. So let us get another blank sheet. Let's copy that one. Kitchen. Okay. So, kitchen's going to be a tricky one, because I feel like there's a bunch of stuff here that can and can't be skipped. Like, let's keep it at level 1 for now. Wait, no, let's go to level 1. There. Okay.
It looks like you have to solve an addition
Right.
problem to open this lock.
So,
That's no problem for you.
skip intro dialogue by setting to by setting level 1. Okay, that's it. So, and bam, we just type them in as fast as we can,
You got the first lock.
and we just
2
hope
more
for
to
the
go.
best. Oh, a subtraction. Oh, no,
It looks
another
like
addition. Wow. So definitely don't change this.
Alright, you got
Also,
2
I'm
locks.
failing to see how
Just
many points
one
we're getting
more.
here. We were at 300,
It looks like you have to
so
solve
we
an
probably got
addition
50
problem
each.
to open this lock.
Yep, 50 each. Okay. So,
You did it! I knew Polly couldn't keep us out. This is Professor Sparks' kitchen, but I doubt your kitchen
alright,
is
I
anything
can't skip
like
any
its
of this yet.
bingo.
Okay,
Is it too much?
we're just going to go in again. There we go. I was seeing if I could skip any of that
It looks
dialogue.
like you got the first lock. 2 more to go. It looks like you have to solve an addition.
Of course, you want low numbers so
Alright,
that
you got 2
spins
locks. Just one more.
as little as it can.
It looks like you have...
Alright. So, we've got
You did it! I knew Polly couldn't keep us
door.
out. This
Oh,
is
Botley
Professor
automatically
Sparks'
sends us
kitchen,
in.
but I doubt your
Oh,
kitchen is anything
okay,
like this
sure.
unless you happen to have lots of hungry
Remind me to
robots
put down
hanging around your
150.
house. See that machine in the middle of
I'm
the
trying to
room? It's
click
the
to see what
robot
we can
feeder.
skip here.
2 things you should know about robots.
Ah, so we can click
1,
on these
they're
things.
usually hungry. And
Maybe.
2, their table manners are
Yep.
atrocious. Around now, I'd normally be hungry enough to eat a '57 Chevy, but Polly's behavior has made me lose
So there
my
was,
appetite.
there was no point backing out here
Hey, if you can't
because
stand
we had
the
to do the
heat,
door
get
again.
out of the kitchen, Spotly. Of course, if you do leave, you won't be able to find the mission clue I've hidden in here. But Polly, there are so many hiding places. At least give us a hint. Boy, can you be dense. What do you think? Mort's hanging around here for the fun of it? Okay, I get it. If you want,
Yep.
you can click around the kitchen to check out some of the cool stuff in here.
I've been
But to
trying,
feed
Botley,
Mort
but I
and
want
help
to click
save
on
the
the
world,
station.
click on the feeding machine.
Yep.
I have to warn you though, watch your fingers and toes around hungry robots.
Okay, there we go. So doing that skips all the dialogue. So select level 1 to skip the dialogue. Alright. So skip, and that says into dialogue. I mean intro dialogue. Skip Botley explanation. Skip Botley. So skip Mort chat by setting level 1. Okay. And so we had door equals 150 points, but that's on level 1. Okay, so alright. Now, of course, setting this to a higher level is going to be potentially optimal, and so we'll need to check this out in other runs. At the lower level, we're only need like 1 or 2 of these different ingredients, but the conveyor belt will move slower, so there's that. But the ingredients should also probably be the exact ones we need in the exact order we need. Whereas at higher levels, we get like other ones we don't need. So level 1 might be optimal, but maybe it's level 2. Level 3 probably isn't. But we'll check that in future runs. So we'll start this, we'll watch what happens with our points. We're at 600, is that what it should be at? We did the virtual collection, we got 250, but it really was 300. And then we've done the door twice, so that's 450, that's 600. Yeah, it's just we've got so many points because we did the door twice. Thank you, dude. Exactly. So, yep, 600 is where we're at. So we've gained no extra points yet, so that's good. So we'll start this, we'll watch to see what we get points for. So 2 cups of soap, look how slow that goes through. 2,000 molecules of gold bullion. So that's super fast. And the question is, can we like stop this and give it to Mort straight away, or do we have to like let it run all the way through? Because I had in my mind that, I mean, obviously when you pull the lever, you stop it if you put the wrong ingredients in, and it like sucks them back out. But I had in my mind for some reason that maybe you could also stop it at the end when you've gotten it completely made. But I don't know why that would work, because it won't finish the level, right? It's got to convey to him. But I don't know. We'll do it. We'll see what happens. 101 milliliters of lemon juice. That's not a Disney movie that I remember. 101 milliliters of lemon juice. I was clicking on that way too early and it wasn't working. Okay. And then 11,000 molecules of salt. And there's no sense in which it's worth spamming the 1,000 11 times. We are going to have to do it, put it back, grab the other one, do it. Bam, put it back, grab the next one. Bam, put it back. Alright, now I'm going to pull the lever because we're done.
I don't think you're finished yet. Click on the switch to continue preparing Mort's meal.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Because we are done. No points for anything here. I don't think there's any point in noting down what these ingredients are or anything, because there's nothing we can do to speed that up. Mash and escape. Nothing's
Sweet
happening.
nectar.
Way to go! Man,
We're at
that
600
wart
points.
could put it away.
For providing such a fine feast, here's a little tip.
Okay, stash. This floor's
Alright,
empty. Let's try
150.
another one.
Okay, so the clue was another 150 points. And that's also at level 1. And so we need our total. Total of 300. And we'll check that out another time when we come back here and do other levels. So 300 points is a little bit more than some of the others. Like the music room was only, oh no, it was 380, but it took ages to do. Virtual collection was only 250, but I feel like it also takes ages to do. Kitchen sort of takes ages, sort of doesn't. I don't know. That feels like that's definitely mid-range. And I don't know if there's any other notes we need for that. Obviously, we've got to do this again at the other levels to see how the point values change, but that's the only dialogue we can skip. So, okay, that's reasonable. Botley, we were done this floor, weren't we?
This floor's empty. Let's try another one.
Yep. Alright, so there's no point. Oh, yes, we've got to check to see if we can skip the dialogue up here with the skull.
You'll see that as we go up
So,
higher in the mountain,
we
the
managed to
professor's
skip some
inventions
dialogue
get more
before with this
secret and
skull.
bizarre.
So,
Here we have the professor's delicate
I feel like we should
biosphere.
spam it
And over there, we have the professor's
to see
shrink
when we can
matter,
officially
an
click
easy
on
way
it.
to shed a few robot pounds. That tram there will take us even further up into the mountain, and to some of the professor's other inventions, including his famous time machine. If you want to go back to the first floor,
Yep.
click on these stairs.
No, I know, Botley.
I'm picking up a clue reading in the professor's biosphere.
Okay, so that is a fraction of a second saving there, because he doesn't need to say, quiet now, I'm going to sense this area for clues, and then do his beep, 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 and then say, bingo, and then start to announce the room. By doing that,
Great. I've got a strong reading in the professor's biosphere.
we jump straight into stating the room. So I don't know if there's even any point noting that down. That's just a thing to remember, that we can skip a tiny fraction of second floor dialogue. Now, you said biosphere, didn't you? Let's hear it a third time.
I'm picking up a clue reading in the professor's biosphere.
Okay, what notes do we have about the biosphere? What do we need to check again? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so all that was at level 1. And so we've got how many points all of that was worth. We want to see if we get the exact same things in the same order. They're not going to be in the same order. We know that. Like there's a lot of variables here. Do we go in and do this now at level 2? Or do we go in and do this again at level 1 and see if we get the same things in a different order? If it's still the rainforest. I mean, we do have to gather data about the other points, so maybe I do it at level 2. Just throw caution to the wind and change everything.
See that glass dome? That's Professor Sparks' biosphere.
See how the
In it,
points
he can grow
change.
anything he wants from any part of the world. It's kind of like a vegetable zoo. And to protect the biosphere from outside contamination, the professor has set up a remote control way of working inside.
And so there was
See
no
over
skipping
there?
in this.
Those are explorers the professor designed to fly into the biosphere.
Unskippable
And
intro
on that
dialogue.
monitor
Yes.
is where you can watch the explorer as you maneuver it anywhere you want. Inside, there are 5 different environments to check out. A desert, a rainforest, a mountain range, a grassland, and
I mean, I'm
even
saying
an ocean.
unskippable. I'm still spam
Each
clicking
one
on it.
contains plants and animals you might find in those places.
Oh, Muttley, over here. Daddy doesn't deserve all the credit. I planted some things in the biosphere, too.
Sure, Polly. Whatever you say.
I did. You don't have to believe me, but I just thought you might be interested in knowing that I planted a mission clue in there.
Yep.
You can't get your poor robot friend back without it. Don't expect me to tell you where I hid it, though. That would be too easy. Polly, the biosphere's huge. You're expecting us to find a needle in the haystack, so to speak.
Relax, Nutley. I know Daddy didn't exactly overload you with
Excuse me.
smarts. I guess I can even the playing field and give you some hints along
Still
the way.
spam clicking.
And here's your first hint. Get one of those explorers launched.
So this is
Even
by
you
far the
should be able to
slowest
understand that.
minigame.
Boy, someday. Well, let's launch one of these babies and see what
Trying,
Polly's got in
Botley. I'm
store for us
trying.
inside that biosphere. Click on the launch button
I
on the
am.
console to
I've been
send the
clicking this whole
explorer
time.
inside.
Alright.
This is weird.
Jump
It
to
seems
level
like the
2.
explorer
We
is
can't yet.
underground. I guess what we need to do is fly up into the biosphere. That should be right above us. To fly the explorer, use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Press the up arrow to blast the explorer forward, and press the left and right arrows to rotate it.
Alright. So level 2. Let's see what changes. So we're slightly faster. Are we still going to be the exact same habitats? The real question. I'm just picking them up because I can.
You should like this question. It's so easy.
So
Which
750
plant is
points.
smallest? A mango tree,
Wow.
lichen, or a barrel cactus?
Okay, so we have a problem already. So I'm going to need to make a second biosphere page so that we can make some changes. Okay. So let's make another biosphere page. Alright. So this will be level 2. None of these are 20 points anymore. We may not even be in the rainforest anymore. So let's find out. So what was the clue again?
Which plant is smallest? A mango tree, lichen, or a barrel cactus?
Well, surely lichen, right?
That was way too
Okay, that was
easy.
still only 20 points. Okay, so lichen. Interesting, interesting. So is that... Are we still in rainforest? That's the real question. Because we're getting no more points by being on level 2, but this is a lot faster to fly around.
Here's a scary question. Which animal dives into a spiral to escape being eaten by bats? A vulture, a praying mantis, or a moth?
Well, it's going to be a moth.
Yeah, so you got it right.
So that's encouraging. Moth and 20 points again, because that's still rainforest. Oh no! Ah! Why would... and I knew that was going to happen. The way I was flying into that door, I felt like I knew that that was happening. Ah, come on. Do we abort this?
Stand up straight and listen to this question. Which animal has ears
Yep, bug
on its belly?
replicated.
A termite, a dolphin, a grasshopper?
Ears on its belly. Well, that's going to be grasshopper, isn't it?
Yeah, so you got it right.
Yep, and the game is completely crashed now. So let me note that down. Grasshopper. Ears on its belly. Grasshopper. 20 points. So this is where, again, we're going to test this same feature of when the game crashes and we go back into the biosphere on the same save game, we're going to find it's still the same environment, it's still the same habitat. We've got the bugged game with like the low sound. Let me do that again. Sometimes the game runs with like super quiet sound. Let's try that one more time. That's better. Yeah, so presumably we're about to get all the same things but in a different order.
Well, hello.
Second test
We've
run.
been waiting.
What?
This floor's empty. Let's try another one.
Oh, because we skipped all that. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Yeah, alright. So, Katooth, you'll have missed all this, but obviously the very first thing that we discovered in speedrunning this is that you can press escape 4 times at the start. I think it's 4. To move through those 4 kind of opening stages. You can press escape to leave the classroom. You can press escape to skip the cinematic of Mystery Mountain. You can press escape to skip doing the actual locked door at the front of the mansion and just be inside the mansion already. Which is just completely nuts. I don't understand why that's possible.
Okay, all sensors indicate. Oh yeah.
Yep, so we're going back in the biosphere.
Underground again.
We're still level 2. Alright. So, I guess that means that, yeah, when we load the save game of that, the game gets confused because, from its perspective, we haven't unlocked the door to the mansion yet, which means it thinks we're still in the opening classroom. And so it just dumps us back in the opening classroom. But then, of course, once we skip everything again and get back into the actual place, it knows that we're still up to here. It's saved our progress on getting the clues. So,
You should like this question. It's so easy. Which plant is smallest? A mango tree, lichen, or a barrel cactus?
okay, this is identical so far in identical
Just
order.
a lucky guess.
Yes, which means, Polly, it could be just lucky.
I had an easy question for you, but I forgot it.
So is this moth?
Try this one instead. Which bright blue
It's
flower
not.
survives among craggy rocks? The sunflower,
Interesting.
the daisy, or the forget-me-not?
Well, Forget-Me-Not's the blue one, isn't it?
Just a lucky
Yep.
guess.
So I'm going to have to note that, because that is unfortunately different. Now, I'm just going to add it to the bottom of the queue. I'm going to see what happens here. Forget-Me-Not. Whoa, look at all those letters. Hopefully Moth and Grasshopper turn up again.
This is a nice, easy question to help break the ice. Guess what a huge mass of slowly moving ice and snow is called?
Uh-oh.
An avalanche, a glacier, or a blizzard?
Huge mass of slow...
Guess what a huge mass of slowly moving ice and snow is called? An avalanche, a glacier, or a blizzard?
Is that a glacier? She's not talking about avalanche. That's a fast-moving mass of ice and snow.
I knew you'd get that
Yeah.
one.
I was really starting to overthink that. Because I'm concerned now about the habitat. Because glacier is not the same habitat that moth and grasshopper will be in. But we've got lichen again. Which makes me worried that there are some answers here that are not unique to their habitat. Could perhaps lichen be in multiple habitats? So, I don't like this at all. I'm going to have to take moth and grasshopper off here. I'm going to have to move Forget-Me-Not up here. Place you here. Because this speaks to a random element in this puzzle now. And not like the same thing each time. Which means if we were trying to run the biosphere, we would need to have answers to like every possible
Here's a scary question.
thing.
Which animal dives into
Moth.
a spiral to escape being eaten by bats? A vulture, a praying mantis, or a moth?
Is the next one going to be the grasshopper?
Yeah, so you got it right.
This next one better not be the grasshopper. I mean, in a way it kind of better be. I mean, all this means that we're going to mountain, right?
Stand up straight and listen to this question. Which animal has ears on its belly?
Yep, that's a
A
grasshopper
termite,
again.
a dolphin, a grasshopper. Wait till next time.
Alright. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We don't have the Botley dialogue. So up here, Botley's supposed to be telling us stuff about where to about like landing on the platforms. Now, there's two options here. Either that's because we set this to level 2, and so Botley thinks he doesn't need to explain to us how the biosphere works, because we've already changed difficulty when we got up here. Or it's because we've exited the biosphere once already when the game crashed and we've re-entered, and so now he's not telling us because this is technically our second time entering the biosphere. So, I don't know, but we're going to have to note that. We're also going to have to write down Grasshopper. But another 20 points. And so we're on level 2, but they're all 20 points. Let me just write dialogue skip. And I'll mark that in blue because we're going to have to check that out. Because we set it to level 2 perhaps. So I think we're going mountain. I'm gonna commit hard by writing it now. And it's not the second habitat anymore. Which one's that? So it's the third one? No, it's the fourth one.
Great, you
Yep.
got the clue. Now click on it and put it in your inventory. Then we can get out of here.
Mountains. So it's fourth habitat. We need to see how many points that this clue is worth. We're at 850.
Let's move on.
100.
There's no mission clue here.
Thanks, Watley. So it was only worth 50 at level 1. So that's the difference. We're still getting 20 points per question at level 2, but we're getting 100 points for getting the clue at level 2. So that's going to give us a total of now 200 points. So getting on to level 2 basically just means you fly faster in the biosphere, which is definitely a good thing because it was so slow at level 1. And it only gets you a bonus 50 points. So it's not like it makes up for a bunch of loss of things. But good to know. Good to know. Alright, Botley, you said there was nothing more on this floor?
There are no mission clues on this floor. Let's go to another floor.
So, if it's the robot maze on the top, or if it's the observatory, we've done the robot maze once already, so getting it again would give us a chance to confirm that it's the exact same puzzle.
Yes, we're at the very top of the mountain. Just knowing what's up here gives me chills.
Yeah.
Still,
And that will give us
being
enough
there
invention
in
points to
case
go
any
through the
danger to
time
save
machine,
my
because
fellow
we've done a lot of
robots.
stuff to get double
Over
invention
there
points
we
already.
have the professor's observatory.
So,
Once, a while ago, he caught Polly spying on the neighbors with the telescope. Boy, did she get a nice long time out. In that room is a little obstacle course, sort of a robot boot camp. The professor uses it to test out his new robots. Of course, I passed with flying colors when I was tested.
of course,
But
Botley.
sometimes he comes across a robot with a few bugs that need to be worked out. If you want to go back downstairs, just click on the tram. Oh, and over there, behind those forbidding stone doors, that's where the professor stores the time machine. There's no way to open it, though, until we have all of Polly's mission clues and, of course, enough invention points. Careful now, I'm going to sense around here. Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hid a mission clue in the observatory.
No? Okay. Alright. So we're going to the observatory. So we're going to need a whole page for the observatory. Let me just copy the blank one. Let's put this right up at the end. Observatory. Observatory. Okay, now this is a complex one because I'm pretty sure there's a heap of skippable stuff we can do here because there's a heap of different levels you can set things at, and there's loads of points we can get at different levels, and this is going to be a complex one to notate. So let's go in, and we'll come out, and we'll go back in again and do all that sort of stuff and see if we can skip explanatory dialogue. Go out, go back in. Yep, look at that. Okay. So we'll note that down in a second, and change that to level 1.
Is this cool or what?
No, change it to level 2. Change it to level 1.
We've got to get that
Yep, okay, so
out of the black hole's
there is
clutches,
skippable stuff all
otherwise
through
we won't
here.
get Polly's hint. Polly's transmission is
So let's see how many
already
points we get for
here.
these things.
Make sure you collect them all, or we won't be able to decode it. Wow,
10 points for that.
Way to maneuver! Wow, we got a radio
And so there's
packet.
4 here.
We have all the packets. Now we have to decode Polly's message. This is the professor's
And I know that...
alien transmission decoding device.
Oh.
It comes in handy when it comes to decoding. You haven't...
Oh. No. Yep, okay. Alright. So... Oh, dear. Alright, so there's a bunch of stuff to note.
Either Polly's finally lost her mind, or
So...
this message has been scrambled. Click and drag the blocks of words to create a complete sentence.
Skippable intro dialogue by leave.
I couldn't make any sense out of that, but you managed to find a real sentence. Great. Great! You decoded one of the sentences. Okay, now here's the next piece of Polly's clue. Hey, you made quick sense out of that messy sentence. Something's not right. We gotta fix this sentence. Great! Way to go! Click on any of the constellations, and this machine will tell you a little bit about them.
Aries.
Hey, you're right on target! Here comes the spaceship! We made contact! Hey, that was great! Click on the clue and drag it to the inventory so we can get on with saving the world. We made it! We got all the clues, we've got enough invention points, now let's go into the time machine. Click on the time machine door in the back.
Thank you, Katooth. That's interesting. I have been awfully quiet for a while. I know exactly why. I'm just wondering how that's happened. So, total, and that's going to be in blue. 150, 190, 230. Okay. So, this is embarrassing. But the microphone mute button is mapped to numpad plus, and I pressed numpad plus back here when I hit plus on enter plus leave plus enter. So when I typed that in, I inadvertently muted my mic without knowing. Okay, so all the stuff I was saying through there, which I guess may be obvious if you watched what I was typing through here. 4 lots of clue packets with 10 points each. 4 lots of... Need to use double minus. Yeah, good call. 4 lots of word scrambles, which were 10 points each for 40 points. I'm not going to write down notes of how to unscramble those because I feel like they were like very straightforward. And a lot of them were just first to last, and then just one that went to the middle. I knew that was Aries, so I just went straight there. And all of this is like skippable stuff, so I'm going to move all this down one again as well. So, because it's skippable bodily dialogue, and it's also skippable reading, which is just exit. Oh, here we go. Now I need to do plus. How am I going to do this? Does this work? Ah, yes. If I do the non-numpad plus, then that doesn't mute me. Skippable reading, and so it's exit plus exit plus go to star chart. There we go. So it skips rereading out all of the unscrambled words if you just exit and you go straight to the star chart. And all that was done at level 1, and that gets us 230. And that feels very quick. Like, I mean, there's a lot of components to that, but with all that skipping dialogue, which we don't get to do in a lot of the other minigames, going out and coming back in and changing levels and stuff like that, we can get a lot of points kinda quick. So Observatory may be one to hope for, I reckon, in a run. But we should check it out in future runs at higher levels to see how many more points that gets, because that could prevent us from having to go back and do a repeat of the painting gallery and stuff like that. So if we get more points by doubling down on a harder one here. Obviously, we don't want to do a higher level for the scramble, because that will slow us down considerably, because that gives us more things to scramble and stuff. But I guess it's worth checking that out just to see what happens if I set the clue packets to level 2. Does that mean that we're going to do the scramble at level 2, or will the scramble be back to level 1 when we get there? And stuff like that, just so knowing how that checks out. But anyway, time machine time. So let's head into the time machine. And reminder again of our objective here. We have to record some timing. So when we did this the first time around to rescue the first robot, there are 7 minutes and 15 seconds of unskippable dialogue that we have to slowly work our way through with the quiz questions and the rescuing of the robot. But that's because we chose to rescue the first robot and to answer questions about the solar system for Polly being at the center of the universe. This one is for whatever the second robot was about. I can't even remember what we're doing for this one. Whatever the second robot's about, it'll take a different amount of time to have Monty Monitor read those questions for us to give answers. So we need to time exactly how long this unskippable sequence takes. And I've got the answers written down for us to go through. The multiple choice questions, there are 4 blocks of 3 questions for each of the 4 clues. And it's 3 multiple choice answers, which I've just termed as 1, 2, and 3. And that was the answer key for Robot 1. There's our answer key for Robot 2, which I need to write down on my piece of paper so that I can tab away from that on the screen, so I know how to speed answer the question. So 313, 122, 323 and 223. So they will be the answers to this second level of questions. I just got all those answers by just looking back at the previous recordings off stream. I went through and checked what we did when we played the game through the first time, and what the correct answers were. So let me go back to the timing screen. No, I can leave that up. I can leave that up for you guys to look at. Tab back into the game. So we go into here. There's a bunch of unskippable dialogue here,
Wow.
where we just have to let
Excuse me if I
Botley
sound
go.
sort of off. We've got
If
everything
I,
we need.
yeah, we tried this before. If I exit and leave, he still has to say all this, doesn't he?
Wow.
Yeah.
Excuse me if I
Okay.
sound sort
So
of odd.
there's no
I
point
wasn't sure
timing
we'd make
this
it to the
because
time
this is
machine
common
control.
to every run.
It's impressive, huh? This is Professor
This opening
Stark's
bit.
most important
We
work to
only
date.
start
The time
timing
machine
when we press the on
extraordinaire.
button,
The
because
professor
that's the
created it so you
point
could
where
witness
it
the
sort of
invention
marks off
anything you can think of.
things that could be
Just go
different
back
on
in
different
time
runs.
and observe. He would never meddle, not like Polly. When he finds out what she's been up to,
So
I
we just
wouldn't
have
be
to
surprised if she's in for some
wait out
serious
Botley.
time out. Now we need to figure out where we have to go in history to complete this mission. That odd-looking machine will help with that task.
Yes.
It's called the Wheel of Invention, and by using Polly's mission clues, we can figure out which inventor we need to find. The professor tried to ensure that not just anybody could use the time machine. You need to know something about history, science, art, a little bit of everything, really. So click on the wheel and let's get going.
Yep. I'm mashing the... Oh, I've got to click the wheel. I was clicking on the monitor. That's good to know. Alright.
We finally made it. This is where we bring everything together
Waiting.
and figure out how to find the robot that Polly sent back in time. This is the professor's Wheel of Invention. It's an obstacle to the time machine. You see, some of the robots kept wanting to travel back in time to taunt the early computers, but you can't have that. So the professor devised a little quiz that's too difficult for the robots. But hopefully it's not too difficult for you. Oh, brother. Polly's reprogrammed the wheel so it's no longer just a quiz. It's a quiz
It's
show.
a quiz show!
It seems the show's called Pollywood Squares. And you're the first contestant.
This is how you play. Answer 3 questions for each of the clues you collected. You'll find out what, when, where, and who. All the information you need to create a profile of your mission.
Once the game begins, you gotta work fast and try to answer each question on the first try. That way you'll win the time key faster and win the most points. Ready, set, okay, let's begin. Just click the on button to start.
Okay, so all that was just common to what's going to happen in every first run. So we'll push the on button. Timer's not on screen. We're doing this analog. I'm just timing this on my phone. But I'll keep you guys updated. So, starting the timer on 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome once again to the game show where history's
Alright,
on TV.
so we found
and Polly's
in the
got
first
kicker.
robot that each
In
of
this
these 4
exciting
clues
episode,
are
we'll
about
search for
90
lovely
seconds
Rhonda
long.
Robot
Like
back
pretty
in
closely,
time.
we were going to
Your
a minute
first
30
clue is a
to get
cute
to
pigeon,
each next clue.
and it will lead you
So
to
we
what
spend
this
about
mission
6
is all
minutes
about. Pigeons
in
have
the
invented a special way of
Pollywood
drinking
Squares
water.
here,
Most birds
plus
drink
then a
by
bit of extra
scooping
time in
up
the time
water with
machine
their beak.
afterwards.
The pigeon uses
So we've
its
got to
beak like
keep
a
the timer
straw.
running
It's the
all
only
the way
bird
through
in the
till we
world
actually get the
that
robot
actually
back.
sucks up water. Pigeons
So this is
are
answer
in the
3.
same bird family as which other bird?
So,
Right.
and then answer 1.
In fact,
So get the
pigeons
mouse
and
ready.
doves are 2 names for the same exact bird. Like some other birds, doves have a special symbolic meaning for people. The American bald eagle, for example, stands for freedom.
See, like, there's a lot of just random dialogue
Dove
here.
is the universal symbol of what?
The universal symbol of whatever the first answer is going to be.
Good job.
And then back to the third.
For thousands of years, the dove has stood for peace. It is a symbol of international cooperation among countries choosing peace over war. What sports event is played to promote peace?
Sport number 3.
Gold medal answer.
Alright,
The
we're up to number
Olympics are
1
played
for the
by
next
people
one.
throughout the world to encourage peace. That's why doves are released at
And
the opening
that's 90
ceremonies
seconds.
of the Olympics because they symbolize peace.
Ha! So Polly sent Rhonda Robot to the Olympics. You're headed for a medal. Keep going.
So there's a minute 40 we've just passed. So this might
The
be
next
slightly
clue is
slower.
a torch. The torch will light the way to where the Olympics were first played. Making fire was a huge step for mankind. Here was an awesome form of energy that was finally in our power. No wonder that fire has taken on so much meaning and importance for people. Even the Olympic Games open with a spectacular celebration of fire. How does
Alright,
the Olympic
first
torch
answer.
get into the Olympic Stadium?
Option number 1, a runner.
That's right! Ho-ho!
And then double 2.
Runners carry the torch around the globe and into the Olympic Stadium where the Olympic flame is lit. The runners represent the countries competing in the Olympics. Runners from countries all over the world train to compete in the Olympics. Approximately how many countries compete in the modern Olympics?
Alright, that one.
Great! About 120
And then
countries
second answer again.
participate in the Olympics, including the country hosting the Games. The Olympic torch is always lit in which of those 120 countries?
That's Greece. We know that.
Yes!
Alright.
The Olympic torch is always
Coming up on
lit
3
in
minutes
Greece
now.
because the first Olympics were played in ancient Greece. The torch symbolizes the constant renewal of the Olympic spirit.
Pack your bags.
Alright, so that's
Looks
3
like we
minutes
have to go to
10.
Greece to find
So
Ron
that
the
feels
robot
like we might
at
be
the Olympics.
about 10 seconds behind on this version of the
Two
questions.
masks are your next clue. They will lead you to who invented the Olympics. These masks represent two types of plays invented for the theater. The laughing mask represents plays that are comedies. Comedies have funny jokes and happy endings. The mask with the sad face represents what kind of plays?
The third option.
That's right.
And we're back to
Ho-ho!
number 2.
Tragedies are plays with unhappy endings. If you were going to write a play, you'd have to decide whether you wanted to write a comedy, a tragedy, or a mixture of the two. If you wrote a tragedy for the theater, what would people call you?
A dramatist.
Yup.
I remember some of these questions.
Dramatists have been writing plays for a long
Then
time.
whatever the third one is.
The world's first dramatists wrote plays in honor of a god called Dionysus. Who were the world's first dramatists? Great job! Ho-ho! The ancient Greeks invented drama
And
as
then
we know it today.
Back to number 2.
For the Greeks, drama
next
was
set.
a religious festival. The ancient Greeks
And there's
had another
4:30.
religious festival.
So that's the
They
third
called
set of
it
90
the
seconds now.
Olympics.
Perfect. Now we know who invented the Olympics. Ronda Robot, we're
So
coming
still
your
running
way.
around about 10 seconds behind time on this set of
All
questions.
right,
But
the
again,
final
it's
clue
still
is
pretty close to
pottery,
90 seconds
and it will
per
tell you when the
clue.
Olympics were first held. Heating clay dug from the ground transforms gooey wet mud into hard, waterproof, long-lasting pottery. People in the Middle East made the first pots and plates out of pottery 9,000 years ago. What's another name for pottery in general?
Ceramics, yeah.
That's right! Ho-ho!
Then number
Many
2
ancient
again.
pots and plates have been found because ceramics are hard and last a long time. Scholars dig up ancient ceramics to find clues about ancient life. What do you call the study of ancient ceramics and other objects?
Number 2.
That's right.
And then the third one.
Archaeologists study ancient human societies by looking at the things they made. An archaeologist would most likely study a society from what year?
Whatever the BC one is here. Yep.
That's right. Ho-ho! And 776 BC
776.
was the date of the very
Alright,
first
spam click for the
Olympic
key.
Games, which began as a religious festival. We know about the first Olympics thanks to
Coming up to
archaeologists
6 minutes
who dug
now.
up the ancient stadium in Olympia, Greece.
Congratulations. Oh,
There's the key. Spam the time machine. In there we go. Alright, and spam Botley.
wow.
He's got a heap of dialogue here we can't skip.
Pretty cool, huh? The professor made it clear this time machine was off limits to anyone but him. But with Polly about to send the world out of control, I think the professor would understand. Looks pretty complicated, huh? But let's
I mean,
see if
half
we
of
can
these
figure out how
questions,
this
yeah,
baby
are gonna
works.
just
That looks like our
not
window
age
into the
well
past.
once we hit the next
Look,
century.
all the information you found at the wheel is is now neatly in place up there.
Some of these
If you
questions
try
rely
and
too
keep
much
digging,
on
this lever
date
looks
subtractions
important.
from the present
Click on
day.
me if you think I should pull it. Maybe it'll start things up. Get set for a
Alright,
trip to ancient
so
Greece.
it's nearly time to
Get
stop
your
the
front row
timer.
seats for the very first
We're at
Olympic Games.
6:50. So the minute we hit the recall button, we can mash
Yay!
escape,
It's the world's first Olympic
and that'll
movie.
take us straight to the robot roost, and that's when we stop the
It's
timer.
Rhonda, the beauty queen robot. Look, the next event is the talent competition. There's no mistaking
ready,
Polly
ready.
with Miss Congeniality. That poor athlete isn't getting a laurel wreath. That's a diamond tiara and a bouquet of flowers. Hit the recall button before the evening wear competition begins. This is where the professor stores all his
Okay,
time-traveling robots.
that's it.
I call
So
it the robot roost.
let's mute Botley
Believe you me, these guys...
and everything so that I don't get too distracted by him. So he's going to chat away in the background while we go through and record how that went. So put that together with our previous timings. So in terms of unskippable dialogue for choosing to rescue the second robot, we have to wait 2 minutes 42 at the start of the mission for Ms. Winkle to read the question and for Polly to give her answer and for Botley to talk about the clues with Polly and the transquisitor disc and all that kind of stuff. So that's unskippable at the start. That's specific to choosing the second robot. And then just now, doing all of those time machine questions and going in and listening to Botley's specific dialogue as he talks about this particular robot to rescue, that was 7 minutes and 22 seconds, give or take a fraction of a second. So what's that total bring us to there? 7, 8, 9, ooh, that's a 10 minute and 4 seconds. So if it comes down to a matter of us needing to shave seconds, we can get basically a 13-second saving by getting the first robot back rather than the second. So it's not massive, but if for whatever reason we're we're trying to min-max this as much as we can. I mean, that's how a speedrun works. You should never bother getting robot 2. You should always go for robot 1. 2 down, 3 to go. Now we can't commit to all that tonight. We're going to obviously have to do this a couple of times. As this is marked as only episode 1 of our speedrun preparations. And looking at the time, I'm not sure I want to commit to a whole third robot at this point, because this has taken us nearly 3 hours to just deal with these first 2 robots and making our notes and stuff. I mean, we're getting a little bit fast with notes, but I don't know that I want to spend another 1 to 1.5 hours getting the third robot back. I think we might save that for another session, which means we might start prepping for a wrap here. Now, where are we for schedule? Unfortunately, stream schedule is just completely bonkers at the moment, as you can tell by the fact that it's been so many weeks since we've been here. We're back here all of a sudden and stuff like that. I cannot tell you at this stage whether or not we will be back next week. I have... like the randomness of these robots and specific encounters in the biosphere and stuff like that, I have random encounters happening on 2 of the next 3 Mondays. So roll some dice. There is a 2 in 3 chance that there will be no stream next week, and a 1 in 3 chance that there will be a stream next week. But it's only 2 of the 3 weeks. So after that, update your probabilities, because based on what happens next week, if there is a stream next week, then there is guaranteed to be no stream for the 2 weeks after that. But if there is no stream next week, then that means that there's a 50-50 for each of the 2 weeks as to what happens the 2 weeks that follow. So have some fun overthinking that for the next 3 weeks. So with a 1 in 3 chance, I will catch you all next week. But otherwise, thank you for watching. That has been another stream to be overthunked by Sharky as we begin to get ourselves prepared for the eventual speed runs of our first robot. So thank you, everyone. I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.